And we had Bill Berge on at the start. He's back from that knee problem.
And he wants to make a lot more tackles this week than he did last week.
The #1 draft pick at left corner, Roynell Young. He was picked on a week ago. 2nd down, 8, Wilbur Jackson, and he got a yard, and that's all. Let's have Theismann kind of summarize the Eagle defense.
Contrary to most defenses in the National Football League, the Philadelphia Eagles line up in a basic 3-4. 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. They're big, they're strong, they're well disciplined, and they say, here we are, come and play us. They don't give you a lot of coverages. They don't move a lot of people around. They line up, they know exactly what they want to do, and they force you to play things. What we're going to have to do today is control the line of scrimmage. Undoubtedly, that's the most important thing when you play a 3-4. If you can handle the nose man and you can handle the 2 outside tackles, then you've got an opportunity of getting your linemen out on their linebackers.
On a 3rd and 7, over the middle, that's Wilbur Jackson, and Jackson rolling up with a catch. Nope, he did not get it. Or did he? Yes, they do. They rule a reception to the 42-yard line. That will be a 1st down. And so a lot of changes in this game. Bobby Hammond, along with Buddy Hardiman, were in there in the running backfield. If there's any one team, John, that really does a lot of situational substitution, it's the Washington Redskins.
Right, and I think on defense we'll see a lot of it today from the Philadelphia team. We just saw that last play. They had 5 defensive backs in there.
1st down now at the 42-yard line, and that will move across the 45 to the 46. Carl Hairston making the stop on the play. Let's look again at the defensive play by the Eagles.
One that we were talking about, the nose tackle there, Charlie Johnson. Watch him handle the center here. He starts to slide down. They try and get a cutback inside of him. Good pursuit from the outside, and Carl Hairston.
Down 7. That was Klatt again carrying the ball. He was a leading rusher in the preseason and leads his team after the first 4 games of the season. Art Monk and John McDaniel split to the bottom of the screen. Monk, the #1 draft pick from Syracuse. This is Klatt again. And Klatt to the 49. Stopped that time by Hairston. Hairston last week for the Philadelphia Eagles had 10 tackles. He was one of the few players I think that Dick Vermeil was pleased with in that loss to St. Louis.
You know, really, when you play a 3-man line, instead of playing the end as we know him, the true defensive end, we really play 3 defensive tackles, and that's what the Eagles have. And Charlie Johnson is a defensive tackle type, as is Carl Hairston at 6'3", 260 pounds.
Johnson and Hairston both 7th-round draft picks. 3rd down, 3 yards to go from the 49-yard line. Theismann on a little delay. And that will be enough for the 1st down. Buddy Hardiman, the 2nd-year man from Iowa State, able to pick up that 1st down. Let's look from the end zone on this last play.
I like this. I like this formation. There's only 1 back in the backfield, which means really it's a passing formation. Now the Redskins can get in that, and if they can establish that they can run off it and pick up 1st downs as they do here, I think they'll have something going today.
You can see, John, how tough it's been, though. A 2.6 average for Hardiman. John Riggins in a game last year against Eagles had 150 yards in 1 game. They will miss him. Klatt, Jackson in the backfield. This is Wilbur Jackson, and he is able to make it to the 40-yard line, and we have a flag, a late flag on the play. Frank LeMaster made the stop for the Philadelphia Eagles, and surprising thus far that Washington moved the ball, but that penalty is going to bring back the effort by Wilbur Jackson. Last week, the Eagles had all kinds of problems. I should say the Redskins had all kinds of problems holding. 4 of them against Terry Hermeling.
Right, and it looks like just got another one, and that's a great drive stopper. They did have some things going. Their first pass protection was very solid. They've been getting some inside running, and then they get this.
Pat Haggerty indicating holding. That's a 10-yard penalty. Moving the ball back inside the 45-yard line. As you see, Monk, 81 to the bottom. Ricky Thompson goes to the top of the screen. A lot of changes offensively as Jack Pardee tries to get this team on track. He said they're better than they were from the start of the week. Wilbur Jackson across the 45 to the 46. Jerry Robinson made the stop for Philadelphia. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited. Last week, O.J. Anderson had 151 yards against his team, John. Prior to that, no one had rushed over 100 yards.
No, and the Eagles are glad to get out of St. Louis and get away from O.J. Anderson. They had all of him that they wanted last week.
2nd and 18, but Theismann has asked for a timeout. The Redskins talking things over. Something just didn't materialize. And so Theismann will visit with Jack Pardee. A timeout in the early going of this game. We'll be back in Veterans Stadium.
You're about to see Ford pickups make 6-cylinder EPA fuel economy history. For 1981, Ford brings this mileage.
Beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
9 sacks thus far for Philadelphia. This guy, 87, Humphrey, had 3 against Minnesota.
And he makes a lot, and he's a real contributor to this defense. He doesn't start, but he comes in on the 2nd and 3rd and long passing situations.
After the timeout, the Washington Redskins with a 2nd down and 18. Theismann, let's see if he can get the protection, and it's there. And there's Ricky Thompson. Thompson to the 20, to the 15. Thompson's in for the touchdown. Ricky Thompson scoring as the Redskins, who were shut out last week, have exploded here on their first series. A 54-yard touchdown strike to Ricky Thompson.
Look at that pass. I'll tell you, we start here with the pass protection. They had the 4 defensive linemen in there. Great pass protection, very solid. Theismann has time. Instead of dumping to the backs like he thought he would, he's throwing deep. He's going to his outside receivers. A great pattern here by Thompson, and then he just runs right through him and right by him. A big play for the Washington Redskins. The
Redskins with only their 4th touchdown pass of this year. And Thompson, the 54-yarder, that's his 2nd touchdown grab this year. Mark Mosley, point after, and Mosley hit it. There's a flag on the play. Mosley having a tough time kicking this year. Pat Haggerty will indicate personal foul.
Let's watch his pass protection. You know, right there, Fred Dean, number 63, he was a guard. He's doing a good job of pass protection on Claude Humphrey, and this is important because it establishes something early.
It does establish something. This Redskin team getting some confidence in the early going. They lead it 7-0. Field goal kicking department. Let's set offensively now. This Philadelphia team. Woody Peoples, well, he's the graybeard of that team.
Plus 2 Pro Bowl tackles in Stan Walters and Jerry Sizemore.
And there you see the wide receivers. We'll watch Carmichael, who has at least 1 catch in 116 straight games. Leroy Harrison. Wilbert Montgomery is in there. As Dick Vermeil said, he was optimistic about him. A remarkable recovery. We'll talk more about that as this game develops. Jaworski off to Harrison. He dropped immediately. Dyron Talbert, who's starting in place of Perry Brooks today, really cut the legs out from under him.
He did. He got good penetration there. They really didn't get Talbert blocked. He was working to the outside, and he got in there and made the tackle. That was the thing that they wanted from Dyron Talbert.
As we mentioned, Talbert is starting. That is one of the changes up front. But the big change on this football team is a middle linebacker, Neil Okowitz, playing his first game this year.
And they feel that that's one of the reasons that they've been run against so much without him, and that may change today.
2nd down 9 for Philadelphia. They trail it 7-0. This is Montgomery, and Montgomery may have gotten a yard, and that's all. Very good reaction by Ken Houston. 12 consecutive years he's been in the Pro Bowl for Washington. Look at that secondary. 3 of those 4 guys were in the Pro Bowl last year.
Lamar Parrish is something. We played against him for many, many years, and we learned that instead of playing against him, you stay away from him.
They gained nothing on that last play. 3rd down and 9. Philadelphia last week got off to a slow start against St. Louis.
And this play will be a very important play. It's their first pass for Ron Jaworski, and we'll see how he gets his pass protection, how he does. Sid Gilman said he had the best week of practice he's ever seen in a quarterback.
Giamona is in the backfield along with Montgomery. Harris coming out of there on 3rd down 9. This is Montgomery to the 30, 35. He has a first down. Wilbert Montgomery got a big block from Woody Peoples, the 37-year-old right guard. And Montgomery, playing with that hip pointer, showed pretty good flexibility.
Well, I think on the first pass, he really didn't want to test his pass protection. What he does is we see Woody Peoples, number 69, blocking here. It's a screen. He blocks his tackle for 3 counts, 1001, 1002, 1003. Then he gets out and leads Montgomery up the field. He gets a block right here, which was enough to bring Montgomery for the first down.
A 12-yard pickup. John, just exactly what is a hip pointer?
A hip pointer is probably the toughest injury that you get. It's probably the most painful injury. It's a hip bruise right on the point of the bone.
That's Giamona across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Giamona was the man that would have started today if Montgomery could not go. The Eagles have a lot of injuries in that running back department. Billy Campfield is slowed right now with a hamstring, but Montgomery answering the bell, and Montgomery the all-everything football player. Well, let's check some other scores. The Lions, the only unbeaten team in the NFC.
They must be for real. That's what everyone wants to know. Are they for the real? I think they are.
Well, look at this one. The Colts. Boy, the Colts have played a tough schedule, haven't they?
Everyone starts out leading the Dolphins. They come in the fourth quarter, and Bob Greasy or someone comes in and wins the game.
Second down, 3 for the Eagles. Jaworski off to Giamona, and Giamona has a first down to the 45 of Washington. And Philadelphia coming right back at Washington, running it at them.
One thing that Dick Vermeil wanted to do is get his running game and his run blocking going. He said this is a delay type thing. It's a draw with a fullback lead. They turned out the tackles. They got the lead by Harris and did a nice job. He wanted to establish this. He said we can run against anyone, but we have to do it, which he's doing right here.
Montgomery not in there right now. A doctor talking to him on the near sideline. I'm sure they're going to be very cautious about his hip pointer. As Giamona remains in the backfield with Harris. First down, Giamona hit by Carl Lorch. Lorch, 71, spinning him around at the 45-yard line. Washington this year has been giving up 181 yards a game on the ground. Does that look good? What's happening here?
It looks like what they're doing there is they're working on his pad. And what happens, they had that special pad that we looked at and showed before the game, and it may have slipped down or up on him. It looks like they're trying to get it adjusted for him.
Because he really didn't take a hit on that play. Second down, 9 yards to go, just inside the 45. Harris, Giamona in the backfield. Smith, Carmichael, put to the bottom of the screen. Jaworski looking to Smith. Smith, good move to the 40, and Smith to the 35, the 30, and he's all the way inside the 25-yard line. Charles Smith, who in a Monday night game had 5 catches, made a big move on this play.
And Charles Smith does this all by himself. It's really a screen pass, Gary. They fake to the left, come out, and throw a screen to the wide receiver. He did get a block out there by 76, Jerry Sizemore, and then he ran through 2 Washington Redskins. As we look at it here again, I think the best thing that the Eagles do is run screens to their wide receivers. I think they do this better than any team in the National Football League, and probably more than any team in the National Football League.
You can see a 22-yard pickup, first down. You can see why they run the screens when they run with it like that. Here's Giamona, and he just hit a brick wall that time. Excellent reaction by Washington. There's Coy Bacon. Pete Wysocki, the ball has been fumbled. And Washington came away with it.
We'll see that again here, and that's one thing that the Redskin defense has always done. You'll move the ball, you'll run, and see right here, he probably should have gone down. When he started to fight, he lost the ball.
And so Washington with a big turnover. They have it at the 21-yard line.
Now, the Firestone steel-belted Trax 12 radial.
Let's look at this last fumble, John. Our replay really shows it this time.
The one that got him is the tackle, Dyron Talbert. As he comes in, he hits Giamona with his left shoulder, and we see the ball bounce out. We have it circled there. The ball comes out Giamona's other side.
And so the Redskins, with a 7-0 lead, have the ball at the 21-yard line. Platt picking up a couple of yards on the play, and the Cardinals leading the Saints. St. Louis trying to win their second in a row. Saints haven't won yet. And the Patriots, boy, the poor Jets, they haven't won either. We'll keep you posted on scores throughout the NFL. Second down now, 7 yards to go. So take a look at Clapp. He's the guy that they went down to really look at another teammate of his. Bobby Beathard did, and they came away with this guy instead. They were more impressed with him.
That happens so often. You know, we talk about this scouting being so sophisticated, but sometimes we just bump into him.
Robert Jackson Jackson to the 25, flags all over the place. Wilbert Jackson, the man they picked up from San Francisco for two number 2 draft picks. The Steelers leading the Vikings 6-0. And we're going to have holding against Washington, and that is something that has plagued this team. Charlie Johnson has been shaken up, 65. He's had problems with that leg throughout a lot of this year.
I'll tell you, and that's something that the Eagles could not afford at this time, because he's a very important part of their run defense. Very strong. He handles that middle.
So Johnson will sit down.
Number 88, offense.
Holding is on tight end Rick Walker. We're having some difficulties with the mic. We'll try to correct that. But it was Walker, and it moves it inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Second down now, 17 yards to go. There's Theismann. Theismann last year with only 13 interceptions, and that is Klatt, and Klatt goes nowhere. Carl Hairston, 78. Boy, is Hairston playing well. This man just last year tied for the leadership of the NFC in sacks with 15. He said, I've got to improve against the run, and I think maybe he has, huh?
You know, last week we stayed at the same hotel as the Eagle. I happened to be on the elevator with Carl Hairston. He had his playbook in the elevator, and he was studying that as we went down to the second floor. That's dedication.
Third down, 16. I didn't know those defenses had that many plays.
Yeah, and Dallas has their playbook, too. The same one Hairston was studying.
A third down now for Joe Theismann. And off out to the 20 comes Bobby Hammond. Boy, that is Hairston again on the stop. Hairston is all over the place right now. Man out of Maryland State, a fifth-year performer.
When I watch Carl Hairston, I always think, why didn't we draft him when I was at Oakland? And really, I know the reason is we see him come down here, he takes an inside move, and he really pursues and plays like a linebacker. But we probably thought he was too short. We got caught up in that numbers thing.
Well, that computer thing. There always seems to be certain numbers the computer wants. As Wally Henry goes back, and ready to kick the ball is Mike Connell for Washington. Connell is 13th in the NFC with a 36.3 average. No rush is put on. A beautiful kick by Connell. Wally Henry at his own 37. Oh, is he hit? The action was excellent by Buddy Hardiman. There is a flag on the play, but Buddy Hardiman, number 22, went streaking down the field. This wild bunch. That's what they call the special teams, and there's a good example of how they play.
Wild bunch, and we will have a real game here between these special teams. They finished 1-2 last year in the NFC, and they really think that this is the ultimate test. But here's where the penalty came. Once he was down, you can't come in. You can't do any more. You have to go off to the sideline.
Number 22.
Looked like Jeff Bostic, number 53.
Timeout.
Was the man who came in there late. As an end result, at the 50-yard line is where they'll have it. When we return, the Skins on top, 7-0.
There's one team that plays for keeps.
The NBA champion Lakers take their magic show to Seattle to battle the Supersonics next Friday night, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central on CBS Sports.
We talked about special teams. The Washington Redskins, they have their team labeled the Wild Bunch. Now, not to be outdone, the Philadelphia Eagles also have their own. They have the Hammer Award, which is given each year and each week for the best special teams performer. And we'll look at it after this play. We'll show you a shot of the sledgehammer from the 40-yard line after the penalty. Philadelphia with the football. They trail it 7-0. Jaworski off to Giamona. Giamona to the 45, 46. Let's look at the hammer. And each week, what they do is they put a name on there for the best special teams performer of that particular game.
I'll tell you, that's something. Pride in special teams. And really, football at one time was just offense, and then it was offense and defense. And we gave a lot of lip service to special teams. But now in the National Football League, really, offense, defense, and special teams are all equally important.
The Jets have scored. They trail New England by 1. Second down now, 4 yards to go. This is Giamona, and Giamona very close to the first down. He needed to cross the 50-yard line, and he apparently is short of that. It'll bring up a third down. Ron Jaworski, who was a #1 ranked quarterback in the NFC last week, but then when he suffered the 3 interceptions in St. Louis, he dropped to number 3. This man, as you mentioned, had a great week of practice, but he has matured.
He has, and one thing that those quarterback ratings don't like is interceptions. For some reason, that's the #1 thing that will take a quarterback down in ratings.
Wilbert Montgomery is in the locker room right now. He is not on the bench on the near sideline. We'll keep you posted on him. Just short of the 50, third down, a yard to go. Play action by Jaworski. Wide open is Harris. A flag on the play. Harris to the 30. He's to the 20. He's to the 15. Harris will go to the 5. And he is in for the touchdown. But let's wait on the flag. There's a flag back at the 40-yard line. Pardee Coleman was back there, but I believe it's going to come back, John. The penalty is against Philadelphia. Oh, wait a minute. It's against Washington.
Right, and the fans have something excited about. This was a short yardage play. The Redskins were in a short yardage or goal line defense. They were all down, staying low. It was a play pass where Jaworski came back, faked the ball to his back, and then he threw it out there to Harris. The linebacker, the outside linebacker, was fooled. There was no coverage there, and a touchdown. That's a great time to go for a gamble, which the Eagles did, and it paid off.
So a 54-yard strike by the Redskins, and coming back this time, the Eagles with a 51-yard strike on their own. Tyra to hold. Tony Franklin's point after attempt is on the way, and we're all tied up 7-7. Two explosive offenses here in this first quarter of play, as Philadelphia coming back, and that shows you, John, what you can do sometimes on a third down and less than a yard to go when you open it up.
And that's an ideal time to do it, because the defense has to anchor in there to stop your run. And when they anchor in there too much, you say, okay, you want to stop the run? We'll fake the run, come across, and then we'll come out and throw the ball, which the Eagles did on that play. As we see it here again. See the Redskin defense, see they're all down and low. They're playing for the inside run. They fake the inside run, throw out to Harris. There's no one there. He gets a good block downfield by his tight end, and then he gets in for the score.
Pardee Coleman chased him down. That's Harris's first touchdown catch of this year. He had 5 catches coming into the game. So both these teams striking in a hurry.
We can see how they all have to bunch up on short yardage. See, they're all in there tight. Then in addition to that, they'll stay low. So it's the ideal time. We used to do that all the time. I love short yardages, and I love to throw those play passes, but we used to throw them to Dave Casper.
Franklin kicking off. Mike Nelms at the 9-yard line. Nelms to the 20, 22-yard line. And Washington will have it there. Well, the Eagles able to overcome that turnover and strike in a hurry. Jerry Robinson that time down to make the stop for the Eagles. So both these teams, John, I think rather surprised that they were able to strike quickly like that. But this series has always had surprises. They split last year, both of them winning on their home sites.
Right, you can never tell. You know, last week when we had the Eagles and the Cardinals, we had the same type of thing. You can never tell in this Eastern Division.
And it shows you again how wide open the offense is this year. Here is Clapp. Clapp. Maybe 2 yards, and that's all. And the Eagles storm him under. John Bunting was over there first. Theismann in this game, by the way, has hit both of his passes. Jaworski's hit all 3 of his. And look at this Eastern Division. Dallas and Philadelphia on top, but it's getting a little tighter after last week St. Louis winning their first one.
St. Louis and Washington, they'll be heard from somewhere during this season. One thing that Joe Theismann is starting off here, or the Redskins are starting off, is a lot of first down run. And I think as the game goes on, they'll be less and less successful on first down runs.
Second down and 8. You see only one set running back. They had 3 wide receivers on this play. Theismann off to Bobby Hammond. Hammond dropped immediately, reacting well was Hairston along with Charlie Johnson. Johnson back in for being shaken up. And you don't think the Eagles aren't fired up? Let's look at the series between Jaworski and Theismann. We talked about the teams as a whole. Let's look at the stats of the two.
That's really something. I'll tell you, the one thing that we see here that I'm sure that Joe Theismann doesn't like are the 12 interceptions. Now, Jaworski has the 8 interceptions, and that's something that they hope they don't get today, because really, one of the biggest statistics are turnovers. If you can stay away from turnovers, you have a much better chance to win any game you're in.
Hardeman and Hammond in the backfield. This is Buddy Hardeman. Hardeman to the 29-yard line, and that'll bring up a 4th down for Washington. The series between these two teams has really been a remarkable one. This is now the 87th meeting between the two. The Skins haven't won here since 1977 as Wally Henry now goes back. Wally Henry, an exciting young performer for this Philadelphia team. He comes in here and punt returns 5th in the NFC. Connell from inside the 15. 7-7, and that's going to end our first quarter before they can snap the ball. So we're all even after 15 minutes of play. The Eagles and Redskins have it each.
Here it is, the 1981 Ford Bronco.
Powerful enough for my car. It was.
I thought I needed new shock absorbers. They told me my tires were too hard.
I came in for ordinary radials. I came out with new Mileage Maker XP all-season steel-belted radials. They steered me right.
AC Penny Auto Centers. We won't steer you wrong.
The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by the totally new Lynx from Lincoln Mercury and by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Wilbert Montgomery has returned to the bench from the locker room area. They're watching him very closely. The ruling we have, or the diagnosis, is it's a very, very tender injury, and that's no surprise. He's been in there briefly and expected to play some more. Mike Connell starts the second quarter with this kick to Wally Henry. Henry at the 30, and he couldn't break that first wave down there. Had he, it looked like he had some running room. Jeff Bostic was down there to make the tackle. Bostic started the year as a free agent with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'll tell you one thing about these two teams and their specialty teams. I don't think in the National Football League you'll see two special teams on the same field that have more enthusiasm than these people do.
Well, we talked to Lynn Stiles of Philadelphia yesterday, and he talked about the fact that great pride is being developed, and Atlanta, that doesn't surprise me. That's going to be a tough game for Detroit. And the Cardinals, look at that. 21-0 over the Saints. I think they've got their confidence back.
They started last week. They're just continuing on.
42-yard kick that last time by Connell. Wilbert Montgomery is in, and Montgomery across the 35, the 37. John, you've talked about Montgomery so much. One thing that really impresses you is how he always seemingly has both feet moving, always in control.
And he doesn't have that real high knee action, nor does he have the long strides. And I think that's so very important. I read something the other day where the great running back Jimmy Brown said that that's what he had. He always had both feet in the ground, and when he took a blow or contact, it was absorbed throughout his whole body. And that's what Wilbert Montgomery has.
Jack Pardee, a team that's struggling right now, but what a job he's done his third year. After last year directing his team to a 10-6 record, and Montgomery really hit by Brad Dusick. Dusick, a vastly underrated linebacker for Washington. He was a second-team All-NFC pick a year ago. And that's going to bring up a third down and a good 8 yards to go.
You know, Dick Vermeil said that he wanted to run the ball. As we see Wilbert Montgomery coming off here, he gets penetration by Dusick, and they didn't get anything going. But it's interesting, the last few plays, they have been using two tight ends, two running backs, and one wide receiver. So he really does want to get the running going, and he wants to do it with two tight ends.
On a 3rd and 8 from the 35. Play action, and that fooled nobody, in particular Kenny Houston. I don't think you'll get away with anything the way Kenny Houston plays this game, and Jaworski paid for that one.
Especially when Kenny Houston is coming on a safety blitz. He was right up on the line of scrimmage. Jaworski was going to fake to one side and come to the other side with a bootleg. Kenny Houston was up on the line of scrimmage, and he was coming in a blitzing or dog play, and he ran right into Jaworski.
That's Mike Nelms, number 2 punt returner in the NFC. And Max Runiger will be kicking. Runiger hits a super kick. Nelms back to the 25. Gets away from Jerry Robinson. He's to the 30, still giving ground. And he's going to get to the 29, and that's all. Again, the Eagles special teams all over the place. John Spagnola, a backup tight end, down to eventually make the stop. And you don't think these two teams don't cover on kicks and punts. There was a good example of it. That punt, by the way, by Runniger, traveled 47 yards.
If anybody appreciates the end of the day, it's a Big A Auto Parts store. Because during the day, no other store works harder to give you quality parts and friendly service. Why, only this morning.
Okay, you need a muffler and a tailpipe? Brakes for a 67 Plymouth? We'll have it here by 11 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. I can show you how that goes on.
You need 6 gas cans? Yes, we can grind drums. Is it a V8 or a 6?
Quality parts, friendly service. That's Big A, the hard-working auto parts store.
On a 3rd and 8, Jaworski tried to bootleg it, and he is shaken up on this play.
He was shaken up on it. That was it's his right elbow. You can see that they're working on that now. You know, sometimes that's the old thing you used to call the crazy bone.
Funny bone.
And when the funny bone. Well, funny, crazy, one of those things. But when you get that, you just go numb in your whole arm, and you can see the pain in Ron Jaworski right now.
Boy, good shot there by director Sandy Grossman. Platt, the fullback, as they have a first down at the 30, pick up 3. It'll bring up 2nd and 7. There's Ron. Joe Pisarcik would have to come in should Jaworski not be able to continue, and Pisarcik this year has only thrown 5 passes, as Dick Vermeil believes in only one quarterback, and he has a good one in Ron Jaworski.
Sure does, but he picked up Rob Hurdle 2 weeks ago, so he would have 3. He said he felt naked on the sideline with only one quarterback.
Monk and McDaniel split out. That is McDaniel in motion. This is Wilbur Jackson. Jackson, the Alabama product, very close to the first down. Claude Humphrey, 87 over to make the stop. There is Pisarcik, who they picked up this year from the New York Giants for a draft pick. You talk about a tough customer. They really like this guy.
He had to be tough when he was playing with the New York Giants. He got a lot of opportunities to show it and prove it.
I saw a game where he got sacked 7 times. Still stayed in there.
That's a lot for a season.
First down after that last run, just across the 40-yard line. This Washington team moving the ball, I think, much better than most people expected they could. Remember, the Eagles, the #1 ranked defense in the NFC. Thompson along with Monk to the bottom of the screen. Ricky Thompson broken up. Herman Edwards. Edwards has just played super football this year for Philadelphia. There's a look at Jaworski's elbow. What are they doing there?
I'm sure they're just trying to get the circulation back. You know how that goes? It goes and it numbs your upper arm, your shoulder, the whole thing. They have 2 of them working on that now. But I'm sure by the time the Eagles get the ball again that they'll have it straightened out and Ron Jaworski will be back in there. This was very close to an interception. It was a slot formation which brought Herman Edwards over to this side, and he made a very good break on the ball.
Edwards with 2 interceptions, almost had his 3rd on a 2nd down 10. Jackson to the 43-yard line. Jaworski up now, trying to get the feeling back. He's got the football in the hand and trying to shake it off. Looks like he might be able to continue. Tell you, this guy is tough. You figure how many games he started. We have a man, Platt, number 35, down for the Washington Redskins. Redskins already have another fullback, Clarence Harmon, shaken up with a bad ankle. We have a timeout at Vet Stadium.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that Light's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, Light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
Lincoln Mercury introduces...
John, you never, ever get your point across. What are you trying to say?
No, I do, you know, and that's the thing. Harmon gets hurt, then Klatt comes in and he plays, and now he's hurt. That has plagued the Redskins all year.
If I cut your arms off, could you talk?
I couldn't talk. I couldn't think either.
Third down coming up, 8 yards to go. Hardiman and Hammond in the backfield now for Washington. 7-7 are scored. Theismann off to Hardiman. Hardiman to the 45 and wrapped up by Jerry Robinson. Jerry Robinson, the former UCLA product, who just roams all over the football field. He's been playing with an ankle problem. You never know it the way he made that tackle.
Oh, and he is excited today. He's made a couple of great tackles today. It was a misdirection type of thing. They tried to get the flow going one way and then screen to the other side. Jerry Robinson on that tackle came all the way across the field.
Connell to kick on 4th down. 2 men are back this time for the Eagles. Shira along with Wally Henry. Connell, not an excellent kick at all, and Shira on the run. Shira to the 32-yard line. That was a very dangerous kick that time, as Shira was at full steam when he caught the football. Pete Wysocki over to make the stop. However, there's a flag back at the 44-yard line. A lot of penalties in the early part of this game. Pat Haggerty indicating holding against Philadelphia.
That'll hurt. That'll put it 10 yards back. One thing, the Eagles had relatively good field position, and now this will put them back to about the 22-yard line, and you really don't like to start there. If you had your choice, you'd like to start at midfield. It's a lot more fun to play there. You see this referee right here, Pat Haggerty?
I see him.
Well, you can't. Here's Mike. He bought me breakfast this morning, but I think he's the best referee in the National Football League.
Is that because he bought you breakfast, or you really think he's a good...
Well, no, I thought that before he bought me breakfast. I don't know if he meant to buy me breakfast. I just had breakfast with the officials this morning. Now, that's something, isn't it?
That is something.
And then when I was finished, I got up and left and said thank you.
I didn't think you even associated with those zebras.
I'm relaxed now.
Yeah, I noticed. From the 23-yard line, Leroy Harris, Robert Montgomery in the backfield. Jaworski is in at quarterback, able to shake off that injury. Harris going nowhere on the play. And I'll tell you, this Redskin team, which had really been vulnerable to the run, playing it much, much tougher today. This week, Bobby Beathard, who, by the way, is an old roomie of yours, understand you went to college together, played football together, said he didn't think the Redskins were playing with enthusiasm, but they are today.
Well, that's true. And again, when you lose a few games, you know, they hadn't scored a touchdown in Washington, D.C. at RFK Stadium, and those things tend to come out in those situations.
Second down, virtually 10 yards to go. 7-7 our score. 10:02 to go. Second quarter of play. Jaworski with time. Now breaking down, and he is hit from behind. Good reaction by Dave Butts, number 65. He had some time, but he took too long. And Butts came from the blind side.
I'll tell you, and they had a good pass rush here, because what they did is they had Jaworski contained. He tried to move to the outside, and just as he did, they came and they flushed him out. I'll tell you, this is in here. We see the blocking on Smith here as he starts to come back, and then he's right in his face where Jaworski couldn't step up. So now he had to move to his left, and Butts came from the outside and took him down. This is a pretty good indicator of what may come. I think the Eagles have to establish that they can pass protect.
36-year-old Paul Smith, who just isolated on a loss of 7 on the play. Jaworski has Giamona. And that'll be a first down, and they get back that yardage in a hurry. Ken Houston making the stop. The first down outside the 45-yard line. And Giamona had a tough time catching the ball last week, just made a 31-yard reception.
I think that was an important reception, because confidence is so important in this game. Jaworski needed, as did Giamona. As you said, last week he had a tough time. He had one ball last week. We're talking about Louis Giamona. He had one pass that hit him in the head.
It's kind of embarrassing, isn't it?
Rather embarrassing. I wonder what he thought. I wonder what the other players said when they watched the films of that.
Jaworski has thrown caution to the wind a couple of times in this game, and it's paid off for him. And 1 3rd down, and then he's in deep in his own territory, comes out throwing, and now with a first down at the 46. Play action by Jaworski. Carmichael, flag on the play. Joe Lavender defending. Lavender, they'll flip-flop a lot and have him on number 17, I guess because he's taller at 6'4".
Right, the last time they played, Joe Lavender would go right or left with Harold Carmichael, and he played on him the entire game.
Steelers leading Minnesota 13-3. Boy, after the way they shut down the Bears last week, you wonder if anybody can score, and they're giving another Central Division team a lot of difficulty.
You know, you never want to play the Steelers. Well, probably you never want to play the Steelers if you had your choice, but you never want to play them after they're beaten.
And that was what happened to Chicago following that Cincinnati upset. Jaworski is 4 of 4 now for 116 yards. And, of course, the touchdown. A first down after the penalty at the 49-yard line of Washington. Montgomery in, and Montgomery dropped by Carl Lortz. Also underneath, Coy Bacon. Bacon, 37 years old. They have Talbert in there. He's 36. Paul Smith is 36 years old. They still can play the game of football.
They sure can. I know that one of the dominating players that we played against was Paul Smith, number 78, when we played him when he was at Denver.
11 years with the Broncos, and he was picked on their all-time team, as that shouldn't surprise you. He was in 2 Pro Bowls while playing for the Denver Broncos. Second down, a little over 10 yards to go. Jaworski, pressure by Coy Bacon. As an end result, no connection on that one. Tony Peters defending on Wilbert Montgomery, but Bacon storming up, trying to get to Jaworski.
Let's see this. We'll watch number 75, Stan Walters, blocking on Coy Bacon. Bacon gets off the ball well. He starts to the outside, and then he just runs right around Walters and makes Jaworski rush the pass. Excuse me. You know, it was interesting. Stan Walters, who was blocking on Coy Bacon, rated the top 3 defensive ends he plays against. He had Harvey Martin from Dallas, Leroy Selman from Tampa, Bubba Baker from Detroit. Didn't mention Coy Bacon.
That may have been a mistake.
Today.
Third down, 11 yards to go. Jaworski going to scramble away from it, and Montgomery, that would have been a first down catch. And John, you wonder how much an injury affects a player, and I got to believe he's thinking an awful lot about that hip.
I would think not. You would hope not. I think Wilbert Montgomery is too much of a pro. I think this pass was just thrown a little behind him. See, it is a scramble type thing. And he's, nope, that was a good pass. You can't hit him. I was making an excuse for him. He has a hip injury. That ball hit him right in the hands, through his hands and into his helmet. You can't throw it any better than Ron Jaworski did there.
You can see Runninger, the 47-yard kick the first time. Nelms is back at the 10. Runninger going to go for the corner. Nelms is going to let it hit, and that ball is going to be out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Excellent job by Max Runninger. A 44-yard kick, and he placed it beautifully.
And it wasn't an excellent play by Mike Nelms. If we watch the end here, see, he shouldn't block in front of the ball, because if that ball were to hit him, then it would be the Eagles' ball.
Using this surgical fiber optic camera lens, Prestone Labs is going to show you what weak, neglected antifreeze can do to your radiator.
That's a promise for me, Judy Davis.
At the 5-yard line, the Washington Redskins with the football. We're all tied at 7-each. The Broncos 6-3 over Cleveland. Wilbert Jackson and Platt in the backfield. This is Jackson. He is hammered at the 7-yard line. John Bunting, who was shaken up last week over there to make the tackle. Steelers still with that advantage. Let's look at this play again.
You know, Wilbert Montgomery has to play halfback because of the injuries here on the Redskins, and he's been a fullback. He was a fullback for the 49ers. He was a halfback in college, and he really doesn't have that outside speed that you need to run the sweep.
And that brings up the name of John Riggins again. He did have, for a big man, he could get outside, and that's one of the difficulties Washington is experiencing this year.
Outside, inside, up the middle, and run out for passes.
Second down and 8. Platt bouncing around and going nowhere. Jerry Robinson over there again. Robinson looks like he's wearing a special pad around his ribs. And Robinson, who many people felt was too small to play in this league, I think they have different thoughts about it now.
They sure do. You know, he's from Santa Rosa. That's where we used to train with the Raiders, and he used to always come out and watch us practice. But look at the speed. The thing that makes Jerry Robinson is he can run as fast as the halfbacks that he's trying to catch.
Third down now, 8 yards to go. It's a tough call here, John. Do you crank up and go, or just stay on the ground?
Well, right now they have their 15 yards for their punter, so they can go for a safe type possession pass.
Hammond and Hardiman, the two backs, they're going to be very cautious about it, and it's going to bring up a 4th down.
That was a safe, tight possession run.
You can't
can
get
do
much
either.
safer. 11.8 points a game.
The first thing that you want to do coming off the goal line is get it out beyond the 5-yard line, because now you know that for your punter you have his normal 15 yards away from the, oh, and they just lost it.
We have a penalty.
Because anytime punter is inside the 5, which we see the ball being put down there right about the 4, now he does not have.
That's a delay of game.
Right, he does not have his normal 15 yards away from the center.
Well, now with a 3rd down and 11 to go, a very, very difficult position now for Washington.
If the official's mic doesn't work, does that mean we don't have to listen to him?
There is the clock. 30 seconds now they have between each play to get it off. They did not make it the last time. A 5-yard penalty. Theismann back. He's cranking up to McDaniel. McDaniel along with Ronell Young, and Young with the interception. Their #1 draft pick from Alcorn State. Young to the 20. And he's going to be run out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Ronell Young with his first interception. And this young man, their #1 draft pick, they call him the Silent Storm, and he created a storm with that play.
He sure did, and that's what he needed, because, you know, he's a rookie starting for his first year. Everyone feels that they were going to pick on him. I'm sure that's what Joe Theismann is thinking right now. He had a step. The ball hung up there. In fact, it wobbled a little. Ronell Young was able to wait, judge it, make the play, and a nice run back.
And Young, with the excellent speed that he has, almost took it in before Bobby Hammond, #34, was able to shove him out.
What did they say about turnovers? I'm sure Jack Pardee is thinking it right now. They kill you.
And at that time, they went for it, and it backfired. Wilbert Montgomery back in the backfield now with Leroy Harris. Carmichael split out. This is Wilbert Montgomery, and he is really tripped up that time. Made a couple of yards. Brad Dusick, #59, cut the legs out from that. Dusick is playing tough on that far side.
He is, and he's doing a good job on getting penetration. The tight ends are not handling Dusick because he's not only staying on the line of scrimmage, he's getting across the line of scrimmage, and when the Eagles try and sweep right or left, they're not able to get around the corner.
2nd down and 8. Dusick started 78 straight games for the Redskins out of Texas A&M. There's Jaworski's stats for the day. A touchdown, a 51-yarder to Harris. This is Montgomery. Montgomery to the 10-yard line. Going to be 3 yards short of a 1st and goal. Montgomery coming up the middle in that characteristic style of his. So quick, the feet really moving.
The one thing, and the offensive linemen love that, as we see him come in here from the I formation, they don't have to hold those blocks for a long time. If they can get in there, get contact, don't let any penetration come across here. See, they hold the Redskin line on the line of scrimmage. Wilbert Montgomery can get into and through the hole.
3rd down now, 3 for a 1st and goal at the 7. Jaworski to Montgomery. Montgomery has a 1st and goal at the 5. Montgomery protecting the ball very well. Leroy Harris, the lead back on that play, helping Montgomery get that yardage.
I'll tell you one thing about Wilbert Montgomery. He may have been thinking about his hip on that pass that he didn't catch, but he's not thinking about it now the way he's running down here. This is where it's very important. You know, you can get to the green, but you have to bring your punter.
Montgomery coming out of the backfield now, and Perry Harrington, their rookie from Jackson State, their #2 draft pick, joins Leroy Harris in the backfield. There we go, 1st and 5. That's Carmichael in motion. Harris, and Harris maybe for a yard. Redskins really making him work for it. Dave Butts, all 285 pounds of him, and Harris is shaken up a little bit.
See, here what they're trying to do is they're trying to, again, get some movement here. The Redskins do a fine job of playing this. You see the line of scrimmage there. There was no movement there. The Eagles, to get something, the closer you get to the goal line, you can't allow penetration first, and #2, you have to get some movement. They didn't do either.
2nd and goal. Montgomery has come back in. Carmichael in motion. Picked up by Lamar Parrish, who jumps over there. Montgomery, lead blockers, he's in for the touchdown. Very well executed play that time. Payroll, number 62, the pulling guard, gave him the corner, and Montgomery took over from there. That is his 4th rushing touchdown of this season.
I'll tell you, he's something special. He was in the hospital 3 days this week. Was off, he practiced one time, but watch the quickness that he has, how he gets to that corner. As we see Pete Perot coming out there. He
made it a 14-7 lead for the Eagles. So the 24-yard return on the interception by Young has set up the Eagles' 2nd touchdown.
On the American road today.
Invitational Gymnastics next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
14-7 here at Veterans Stadium. The Eagles with the advantage. Tony Franklin ready to kick off. Nelms is back deep for the Washington Redskins. This is going to be Wilbur Jackson. Jackson to the 30, to the 32-yard line. As the Redskins now will set it up with still 2 minutes and 41 seconds to go in this first half of filet. Thomas Brown over there to make the tackle. He's the rookie from Baylor, 11th round draft pick. Eagles had 3 players from the draft make their team. Washington only 1, that being Art Monk. See Harmon going off on the far side, and he's really limping around.
Well, he's had that ankle, and it's bothered him all week, and he really hasn't been able to practice it.
Jackson and Clatton in the backfield. This is Jackson. Boy, good effort by Wilbur Jackson. Jackson last year for San Francisco caught 53 passes, and he's been around 800 yards rushing on 3 different occasions. But really, John, a fullback trying to play a halfback.
Well, it's very tough for him, but Wilbur Jackson is a real tough running back, and I think he's better suited for those types of runs when he runs inside or between the tackles. And he can do that as a halfback. He's really not a sweeping halfback.
2nd down, 6 yards to go for the Redskins. Approaching the 2-minute warning. Jackson trying to get outside, and that's a tough thing to do against this team. Robinson is over there, but it was Carl Hairston who really started that play in the wrong direction as far as Washington was concerned. And so we have the 2-minute warning. So they've just completed the 2-minute warning here at this beautiful facility of better than 71,000 packed into it today. They sold better than 68,000 season tickets here in Philadelphia.
They're sure wild about their Eagles and their Phillies, aren't they?
The Phillies winning that Eastern Division in Montreal last night. This town is excited. As well they should be. 3rd down now, 4-yard go. Hardiman and Hammond in the backfield. Joe Theismann with 1:57 remaining in the first half, and Hammond is grilled by John Bunting. Anything they've tried to do wide, John, has just been smothered by this Philadelphia team.
And I don't like that pass at all. I think when you have 3 and 4, you have to get the ball up the field at least 5 yards, because there's no need to throw the ball out here. It was a screen type pass. He had 1 blocker, but the Eagles were playing that very tight.
I would say that's an understatement, the way they took care of that play. Back now to kick the ball. Mike Connell. He hits a beauty. Oh, what a kick. Wally Henry inside the 20-yard line. And no place to go. Jeff Bostic is down there again. Bostic has been down on numerous punts, and that time no exception. And so Philadelphia will have the ball with 1:14 remaining. Now, wait a minute. We have a man illegally down the field, so they're going to have him kick it over. That was some kick, a 50-yard kick. At halftime, we'll be joining Brandon Irv with scores and highlights and a feature of a return to football. This is about a 40 and a 50-year-old man returning to college to play football.
One of them was out in Monterey Junior College, and you think 40 and 50, and of course that's my age. I know you're a lot younger than that, and that's one thing that I don't want to do even as a coach. I had enough of it when I was 20 and 22 and 23, and that's amazing, 40 and 50 years old.
I got a real kick out of you and Bobby Beathard. You played together. What was it, Cal Poly out there?
Well, it was either Cal Poly or Cal Tech. You know, Bobby was saying it was the MIT of the West.
And he told me what was really interesting. He said that the two of you were PE majors, petroleum engineers.
Petroleum engineers. That's what Cal Poly was noted for, with their engineers.
You really did get through that school.
Yes, well.
All right, after the penalty, they're going to ask Connell to kick it again. And this is not near the kick it was the first time. Wally Henry, the 45. Look at this guy get to the 49. He just kind of slides through people. Monty Coleman made the stop, but boy, that's a considerable difference. They would have had the ball at the 20-yard line. Now they have it at their own 49. And that was a 29-yard kick as opposed to the 50-yarder. So taking the penalty was worth it. Now, do we have another flag? We sure do. It's against Washington, however.
Now that will really hurt. These penalties, these things, the special teams, they take great pride in their special teams. They're called the Wild Bunch. But in this situation here, that really hurt him. I think had the penalty not occurred the first time, as we look, well, we can't hear him anyway, so I'll keep talking. But had the penalty not occurred the first time, the Eagles probably would have been content to run out the clock. Now with the ball here on the 36-yard line, they have 1:04 seconds. They have their timeouts. They have plenty of time to get another score before halftime, which can change the entire complexion of this game.
And they have a guy by the name of Tony Franklin. It gives you a little bit of operating room as far as the field goal is concerned. First down from the 36. Jaworski. Carmichael at the 20, and ring continues with that catch. Carmichael now has extended his string to 117 games with at least one grab.
I think that Harold Carmichael was pointing to Joe Lavender after that play. We see here now the Eagles are getting some pass protection. They're getting good pass protection. Carmichael catches the ball. He makes a nice little move there. This guy is an amazing man, the way that he can move.
John, we talked about him. Has there ever been a guy 6'8" play this position?
I don't think so. I'm sure that there hasn't been one, but watch the footwork that he has. I always believed that people that were long-legged, 6'8", could not have good feet. Harold Carmichael has proven me wrong. Look at those statistics.
It's amazing. He's averaged 52 yards a catch, or 52 catches a year, I should say. And coming into this game, he had 17 grabs, so that's his 18th of the year. There's the time remaining, 55 seconds. The ball now at the 17-yard line, a first down as Jaworski asks for the timeout. And now returning to the huddle, they have John Spagnola also coming into the lineup. As Philadelphia capitalizing on the interception and now trying to capitalize on a penalty and a poor punt.
We were talking to Harold Carmichael yesterday in the van. Remember, Bill Verge drove us back from practice to the locker room, and Harold Carmichael and I were sitting in the couch in the back of the van. We filled that up pretty well. But he was saying that he really doesn't like those high passes. He said, I'm 6'8", but throw it to me like you throw to normal people.
A first down at the 17. You see Montgomery, the lone back behind Ron Jaworski. Jaworski with time to throw. Montgomery at the 12-yard line. Driven out of bounds by Monty Coleman. Now 45 seconds. Going to bring up a second down.
He was just trying to get something out here, see if he could get Montgomery out in the flat, maybe break a tackle and take it into the end zone. Of course, it didn't happen, and they're using another timeout.
So they'll have one timeout remaining. Let's take another angle look at this.
I think on this play, it was first down, and they still had their 2 timeouts left. They can afford to do this. Now, I think on second down, instead of directing the ball to the flats or to the running backs, I think they'll try and get something into the end zone.
It'll be second down and 5 for a first and goal, but one timeout remaining, 45 seconds remaining in this first half. Franklin this year has only kicked 2 field goals and 4 attempts, and we saw him last week attempt a 60-yarder, which he was close. And talking to him yesterday, he explained to us why that kick didn't travel 60 yards. He had it all diagnosed and down to the finest detail as to why he didn't make it.
You know, when you talk to a kicker, they never have a simple answer. He got down on his knees. He showed us where the snap was, how the hold was, where the ball was, and why he missed it. He said another interesting thing, that he was going to talk to Mark Mosley today. Now, I'll guarantee you that was an interesting conversation. When you get in a conversation with one kicker, that's interesting. But when you get two of them talking to each other, I would have loved to have heard that.
Well, I asked him what he thought was wrong with Mosley, and he said, I'm going to find out.
He says, I'm going to talk to him.
Well, at least they're talking to each other.
Oh, boy.
Second down now, 5. One timeout remaining. Mosley is having a tough time. 2 of 9 in the field goal kicking department. In motion, that's Charles Smith. Montgomery, the lead blocked by Sizemore. Montgomery inside to about the 5-yard line. Stops the clock with 39 seconds. Tony Peters over there. That's a very similar play to one they scored on earlier.
It was, and they're doing a better job of handling Dusak on that side. As we see it there, they'll start in motion away. See, they got the defense of the Redskins to come to their right, and then they flipped the ball and went on a sweep back to the Eagles' right.
There's Sizemore trying to take Dusak out. Harris trying to take Peters out. Peters playing pretty tough on that play.
He was playing tough, and there's a little grabbing out there, too.
Now they have a 1st and goal just outside the 5-yard line with 39 seconds. Of course, they're still thinking touchdown at this particular stage. From the 6, Jaworski. Rifles it to Crefley. Mark Murphy, the strong safety, was there, and he just skipped that one off the surface.
He did. He was trying to get the ball out to John Spagnola. They had 2 tight ends in there. He was trying to get the ball out to the right side. He couldn't do it, so he came back to Crefley inside because he knew that he didn't want to waste a timeout had he taken a sack, so he just threw that ball away.
2nd and goal from the 6. Spagnola now coming out of the lineup. Charles Smith and Carmichael will be flanked out. Harris and Montgomery, the running backs. A lot of moving around. They're looking more like Dallas every week on that jumping around. Jaworski looking to Carmichael. He got it. And there's where his height paid off, because Lavender at 6'4" just couldn't get up high enough on that play.
That's where his height and his width paid off. He just played that like a basketball player in the post. He just moved Lavender off to the side. He said, I want it in here. He kind of got in between the ball and Lavender's was, see right there. So you got both shoulders inside, and that is where his height paid off. Where his height paid off is the fact that Ron Jaworski can see him and find him in the end zone in the middle.
And so the Eagles now with a 20-7 lead. 30 seconds still remaining. You look at Shira. Now he places the ball, and you saw the ball with the laces out in front as the snap was very good that time. Let's look at the ground level shot of this touchdown pass.
It's interesting that Joe Lavender is still covering Harold Carmichael. He goes right or left with him. He was there with him, but Harold Carmichael was just so big he was able to move him out of the way as he caught the touchdown pass.
And again, showing the good hands that Carmichael has. He uses those gloves. A lot of the Eagles using the gloves, the wide receivers.
Use the gloves. They're the golfing type gloves, the real light gloves, and I'm sure that they started using those gloves in the cold weather. Probably had some success with it, but well, if they're good in the cold weather, we'll wear them all the time. You know, it shows how important a turnover or a penalty is. The difference between field position on that last drive really dictated what the Eagles were going to do. They were able to open up, to run, to throw, and get another score. And the score at halftime is much different from what it would have been had not that first penalty occurred on the punt.
You know, they ran a lot of plays for 34 seconds, 5 plays. That's a lot of plays.
That's a lot of time, it really is, especially when you have your timeouts, because you get out of bounds, you don't use it, or you stay in bounds and you use it.
Bringing it out, Nelms. Nelms to the 30. Look out. Boy, that was close to being broken up the middle. Zach Henderson, 24, dropped him. John, you could see that alley really opening up in the middle on that return.
That alley did, and the only one behind there that would have had to make the tackle had Henderson not made it would have been the kicker, Tony Franklin, with one shoe on and one shoe off. You see that alley? Look right there. He came in from the outside. See, now we'll watch Tony Franklin here. I always wondered, what he thinks when he runs down there. There could be nothing more that would hurt more than getting your toe stepped on. I see what he does. He gets back there and waits, backs up, back. Oh, whoa. He has to take on black. He'll feel good about that.
Theismann off to Hardiman, and Hardiman to the 49. He was telling us yesterday, Franklin says, I have my head on a swivel when I go out there and follow up my kickoffs. John Bunting made the stop again, scores and highlights, and that very interesting feature, a return to football. There's Harold Carmichael with that touchdown catch of 6 yards just moments ago. Washington has called a timeout, stopping the clock with 19 seconds. You see they have one timeout remaining, as does the Eagles. So Washington going to have to play some catch-up football, and Philadelphia is a tough team to do that against.
Right, I could see here with 19 seconds and one timeout that all Joe Theismann needs really is one completion, about a 20-yard completion, and it can be inside, and then they could take a kick at a field goal and change this game a little.
And of course that would mean Mark Mosley, and I think Mosley'd like to have a significant kick, get some of that pressure behind him. As you said so many times, John, they have a long time between kicks in which to build up pressure, and Mosley is on the far sideline right now warming up.
Sometimes a week. The last time that Mark Mosley tried one was a week ago, but we have to remember that he and Tony Franklin did have a discussion.
And so he straightened everything out. Second down, 3 yards to go. There's Theismann's stats for the day. Theismann to Ricky Thompson. Did he roll up and catch it? They're going to give him the reception. That's quite a... No, they ruled it incomplete. And boy, there's a discussion going on now. John Hilton, one of the assistant coaches over there, thought he had it. Let's see if we can pick it up on this replay.
That's where you usually help him on the sideline. I felt he could have thrown the ball to the inside, but it starts to die a little as he dives for it there. And I guess the referee or the official thought that the ball hit the ground first.
Very, very close. Brings up a third down. There's your time remaining, 12 seconds. Thompson to the bottom of the screen. Art Monk to the top of the screen. Theismann wasting no time. Over the middle, and with 7 seconds now, they're going to have to call their last timeout. Bobby Hammond with the catch inside the 45. Timeout, Washington. No timeouts remaining. Hardiman upset about something on that last play.
He felt that they grabbed his face mask when they tackled him. He would have liked to have tacked 5 more yards on that play, as I'm sure Joe Theismann would, because now he still has to throw one more and then hope to get out of bounds or in the end zone so that they could take something at the field goal. See, when you don't have any timeouts, now you can't throw to the inside anymore. So Joe Theismann will either have to go into the end zone or to the sidelines, get out of bounds, and then kick the field goal. That really changes strategy.
Well, they've had that Big Ben play so often throughout the National Football League, a tipping drill they execute down on the goal line area. Let's go back on this last play.
I think we see the pass here. See, and he would like to have gotten that a little deeper. I think he was complaining right there that something happened after the play. Really, it was one of his own men blocking Bill Berge. Bill Berge doesn't think that you should stand around those piles.
Well, Hardiman flying through the air after Hammond was tackled. Looked like somebody's trying to squash him after the play. First down inside the 45. This may be the last play of the first half. Theismann running around with 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and just gets rid of it. And there's no time left. And so the Philadelphia Eagles with a 21-7 halftime lead. The Eagles very opportunistic in this first half of play. And a very solid performance out of quarterback Ron Jaworski.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. Allstate Insurance Companies, you're in good hands with Allstate. And by Sears Tire and Auto Center, home of straight talk, good values, and satisfaction.
The Washington Redskins will kick off to start the second half of play. They trail at 21-7. Wally Henry will go back deep for Philadelphia. The sun breaking through the clouds. Boy, they had quite a rainstorm here yesterday. Redskins wanted to work out on the field yesterday, could not because they had to line the field after the rain for a college game here last night. But it's beautiful weather today. Temperature at kickoff time was 58 degrees.
Perfect football weather.
Mosley ready to go, and this second half is underway. Hits it very high, and it's characteristic of him. Wally Henry at the 10, 20, and he's going to bring it out close to the 30-yard line. Let's look now at the first half stats. And as you can see, the Eagles have the better of it as far as passing is concerned.
Well, and the other thing are the first downs. You know, first downs are so important in getting them. They had 11-5. And the other big thing, I think, were those penalties. I really think penalties and turnovers hurt. If we look there, the Redskins had 6 penalties to the Eagles 2, and that was a big part of the story in the first half.
In that first half, excellent job by Jaworski, 7 of 10, 145 yards. Theismann was 7 of 11 for 75 yards. Montgomery will open the second half. He's in the backfield along with Leroy Harris. Line of scrimmage, the 30-yard line. This is Montgomery. Montgomery to the 30, 35, 36-yard line. A pickup of 6 yards. Montgomery in the first half had 24 yards on 9 carries. Beat Wysocki over there to make the stop.
The thing that impressed
quicker there, didn't
he did look quick, and that's the thing that impressed me, because when you have a hip pointer, it hurts all over. And be able to get out there and make that cut the way he did to turn upfield to get his shoulder square was really something.
Second down, 3 yards to go. There's the stats on Ron. Boy, he has played very, very well this year. Last week was the only valley he's had. They've been all peaks thus far. Harris, and Harris trying to bounce outside, gets away from Carl Lawrence. He's at the 40, he has a first down. A very resourceful run that time. Mark Murphy got him.
You get outside, you don't have a blocker out there. But I'll tell you, he picked up a little block, not a big one, from Harold Carmichael right there, who blocked Joe Lavender just enough to let him get to the outside. See, we'll see it here again. He starts to the inside. It's going to be just a straight dive with man blocking. There's nothing there. He said, well, I'll see what's outside. Outruns a few. Harold Carmichael gets a little bump just before that, which allowed him to get outside.
He has that low centered gravity, 5'9", and it paid off in that instant. First down at the 45. Jaworski with time. Carmichael to 40. Carmichael to the 35-yard line. And boy, he had that ball in one huge hand. Joe Lavender eventually made the tackle for Washington.
He had the ball in one huge hand, and he had the other huge hand in Joe Lavender's face to keep him away from making the tackle. That was a great catch. The ball was really thrown behind him. You see that little stiff arm that he gave with the right hand there? Joe Lavender said, I thought those things only happen inside to linemen and linebackers, but sometimes from out here you have to take a little too. You see gloves there? You see he gets his right arm up in front of Lavender's face so that he can play him off.
19-yard pickup. Those tall, angular guys have great strength, don't they? Here's Montgomery. Boy, that is characteristic of him. A flag on the play. The way he can cut, dart back and forth. A great cutback runner. Penalty's going to go against Philadelphia. And so after the Redskins were haunted by penalties in that first half, now the Eagles pick up one, and they're backing up. Montgomery on that last play, again showing his ability to change direction. Going to step off 10 yards. Joe Pisarcik on the sideline. They signal their plays in, and the man just behind Ken Hyman there is Lynn Stiles.
Number 75, offense.
That's a very interesting thing. They signal the plays in to Ron Jaworski. Now they just give him the play, the run or pass, and then he has to add the formation to it. One interesting thing, the way they practice that, the night before they get in a hotel room, Lynn Stiles give the signal, they turn up the television as loud as they can for distractions, and then they go through the plays and the play calling.
And then they say once in a while they get distracted by the television and watch the program.
Jaworski starts watching the program.
First down 20 after that 10-yard holding call. Carmichael. He almost came up with it. Murphy did. Mark Murphy on the deflection has an interception. Well, I want to see this one again. Carmichael tipping it around, and Murphy very alertly comes away with the interception.
I think we will see an example here of the thing that Harold Carmichael was telling us yesterday that he doesn't like. He is 6'8", but he would like the ball thrown to him like a normal person. That idea of getting the ball up in the air and he'll get it isn't always true, as we see here.
Boy, that's a remarkable play by Mark Murphy, picking it off for Washington.
A super automotive value from Sears.
Mark Murphy with his third interception of the season stops the Eagles' drive. The Redskins with the football at the 28-yard line. And Jackson is nailed in a hurry. John Bunting, number 95, was back there almost the same moment he got the football. Looks like Bunting a little shaken up. Look at this score, John.
That's quite a surprise. The Seahawks shut out the Redskins last week, and now they have a shutout going in the first half against the Oilers. I would guarantee you that the score won't end that way. Houston won't end up with 0.
You think the Snake might have something to say about that?
Well, he better start talking.
Loss on that play of a yard, 2nd and 11. And the Cardinals are putting a number on the Saints. Look at that. The Cardinals might really be something to contend with the rest of this year. Here's Klatt. And Klatt moving that pile to about the 30-yard line. The Cardinals, who had struggled earlier, that win last week over Philadelphia, is going to make them a tough adversary in this division now.
They are. They started last week, and they look like they're just continuing. Archie Manning is out of that game, and you know that they've lost a lot of players there in that New Orleans Saints team. Manning won a game.
Excuse me, John. Manning with a muscle pull, and Guy Benjamin, the man they picked up in a trade from Miami this year, has replaced him in the quarterback spot. 3rd down now, 8 yards to go. Theismann intended for Rick Walker, and he has a crowd around him. Walker, a former UCLA player that was drafted by Dick Vermeil in college. Bernard Wilson, Roynell Young defending on the play, and Theismann didn't have much to throw to that time.
No, he sure didn't, and it all started on 1st down. He ran a play on 1st down, lost yardage, ran another play on 2nd down, and came up with that 3rd and long, which is very difficult to do against the Philadelphia Eagles.
There's Wally Hollywood Henry standing back inside the 30-yard line. Connell, no rush at all, and a wobbly kick, a short kick. And the Redskins are getting a little help on the roll, and it'll be downed inside the 40-yard line. So Mike Connell, who this year beat job in the secondary. We have the football now at the 38-yard line. 12 minutes, 1 second remaining in the 3rd quarter of play. The Eagles with a 21-7 lead. After a 43-yard kick by Connell, they have it. 1st down. Montgomery in the backfield along with Harris. Carmichael and Smith split out. And to the 40 come the Eagles for a gain of 2. Montgomery carrying the football. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8.
Coy Bacon came in there and made a play. He was one of the players that was talking about the Redskins and their leadership, and there's been a lot of talk about that this week with the Redskins, how they need leadership, and it has to come from within on the field and not by talk but by play. And Coy Bacon on that play looked like that's what he was trying to do, get something started on this defense.
3 times a Pro Bowl selection. There's the stats on Montgomery. 2nd down and 8. From the 40-yard line, Jaworski. Pressure put on by Dave Butts, and it's almost intercepted by Monty Coleman. Harris, the intended receiver. Coleman almost came away with the deflection, as Jaworski had big Dave Butts, all 6'7" of him, storming down his throat.
He sure did, and had Monty Coleman intercepted that ball, he would have gone in for a touchdown. We see Butts there. See, he makes Jaworski bring the ball down, although it was a good throw. He did have Harris there. Harris just bobbled the ball. Coleman is saying, I knew I had a touchdown if I could have caught it. I shouldn't be wearing those gloves.
Coleman with 1 interception already this year. There's the 3rd down conversions. Philadelphia, very good percentage. Chiamona, and now Billy Campfield has come in for the first time. He did not play last week due to a hamstring injury. From the 40, 3rd down and 8. Pressure put on Chiamona. Tony Peters, I don't know if he got a hand on that ball or not, as Chiamona had it hit him right in the bread basket. Of course, see if we can pick it up.
I think he did get his hand on it. Tony Peters is the 5th defensive back, and he comes in nickel package on the passing down. Again, Butts got some pressure there. Tony Peters not only got a hand on it, but he felt that he could have had that for an interception.
Peters had 2 interceptions in a game against Oakland this year. Mike Nelms goes back, Runniger to kick. 11:10 showing on the clock, 3rd quarter. Both these teams now struggling a little bit offensively as we start this 3rd quarter. They've got 11, should say 10 men up on that line, but no real rush. They set up the return. Nelms at the 24-yard line. And he is just stormed under. Both these teams are just trying to outdo each other in the special teams category. Just been excellent all afternoon long. Green shirts all over Mike Nelms that time after a 36-yard kick.
See same-day coverage of Mike Weaver's WBA Heavyweight Championship defense against second-ranked Harry Coetzee, Saturday, October 25th on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Let's go back again and show you special teams action deluxe as far as Philadelphia is concerned.
Line. You know, we hear about gang tackling all the time, and there's a shot. That's what gang tackling is.
They just buried Nelms on that play. And now from the 23-yard line, 1st down for Washington. Theismann on the play action. This is Platt to the 30. And he's about 3 yards short of the 1st down. Bill Berge over there. Bill Berge, a man who has battled back from a very severe knee injury. We have a flag on the play. And a man that just a real inspiration to this football team in Philadelphia.
He is an inspiration. You know, he's an inspiration to everyone. You can just tell, you know, in the pregame interview that we had with him, he has determination. I think when a person like that has determination, when he gets in the huddle in a football game, it's infectious.
Infectious is a good word, as the penalty obviously going against Washington, a 10-yarder. Pat Haggerty's mic is working. Let's listen.
Holding, number 60, offense.
That's Gary Anderson, an offensive tackle for Washington. He's been seeing a lot of action due to the injury to George Stark. There's Bill Berge. This man led him in tackles in the first 3 games. 1st down 20, here's Klatt. And Klatt out to the 19-yard line. And those penalties continue to really stymie this Washington team.
I'll tell you, it really does. I felt that as we looked there, 7 penalties for the Redskins, 3 for Philadelphia. I felt that the Redskins had to get to some 1st down passing. I don't think they can continue to go run on 1st down, run on 2nd down, pass on 3rd down. Joe Theismann did it, and then they had a 10-yard penalty.
2nd and 15. The Redskins a year ago at this time were 3-1. Reversed right now, and it'll be a tough uphill struggle today. Here's Klatt. Klatt to the 22-yard line. And he still has a good 11 yards to go for a 1st down. And again, the Eagles swarming around the football. Carl Hairston leading the charge as you see Berge get up again. Bill Berge's been in 4 Pro Bowls. 3 times he's been the Eagles MVP. And they talk about the extensive rehabilitation he went through. He had ligament and cartilage damage. John Bunting had a very similar injury the year before, and they've kind of gotten their heads together and encouraged each other to rehabilitate those knees.
They teamed up, and of course Bill Berge gives a lot of credit to his rehabilitation to John Bunting.
3rd down 11, and we have a timeout called by Washington. Joe Theismann will go to the sideline, the first of his 3 timeouts in this 2nd half of play. The Redskins, they need a big play. John Madden, the last time the Redskins called a timeout, they threw a touchdown pass.
In the 1st quarter, I never like to use those timeouts early, but Joe Theismann did it in the 1st quarter, came back and threw a touchdown pass, so maybe he gets good plays when he does it.
On a 3rd and 11, he's going to have to scramble. He has Bobby Hammond. This is a big play. Hammond to the 40-yard line. And so on 2 occasions, the Redskins have called timeouts One of them went for a 54-yard touchdown strike. This one another big gainer to the 40-yard line of Philadelphia.
Maybe that's the secret, is to call timeout and find out what they really want, go over, talk about it, really get it together, and then come and do it. But Joe Theismann had a good rush there by number 87, Claude Humphrey. He avoided the rush, stood up, got the ball to Bobby Hammond, and it's a big play. That's what the Redskins needed to start him off this half.
That was Richard Blackboard that eventually made the tackle. Gilbert Jackson trying to go wide. He gets close to the 35-yard line. Randy Logan, the strong safety who played in the Pro Bowl for the first time last year, as Theismann has to take heart from that last completion to Hammond. Joe Theismann, we watched some films earlier this year. He has really been pounded around. He's had to run for his life, but he is a gritty, determined field general for this team.
He sure is, and that was one thing. Last week, Coach Jack Pardee said, you know, if you can't pass protect, we probably shouldn't even throw, and that's where it all starts, is in that front line.
2nd down and 6, Clapp. They may have gotten a yard, and that's all. Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle out of Colorado, an all-pro in '79. His best year ever was there and stayed home, and a gain of a yard at best. So a big call coming up again for these Redskins. 21-7 they trail.
It's that 3rd down call again. I think with that good field position, and of course I don't want to second guess anything, but it probably would have been a good time to come out and throw on 1st down. That when you run on 1st and 2nd, you put everything you have on this down.
The Eagles have had a lot of success this year on 1st down. We'll develop that in a little bit as Theismann back. This is Hammond again, and Hammond has a 1st down catch at the 27-yard line. Jerry Robinson, however, there's a flag, and it looks like Washington's the guilty party. Boy, the penalties continue to just knock this Washington team down, and that's holding against them again.
It is.
Here
it's
we
probably
go.
on the left tackle there, because it was called by Pat Haggerty, the referee. When the referee calls it, it's usually a late holding deep in the backfield.
Number 60, offense, holding.
Boy, you had those areas figured out when you were coaching. You knew who they were looking at and at what time.
That's right. I used to scout the officials, and I knew where they lined up and when they called and what they called. And we used to work on the rules a lot, and the officials, and then I used to try and help the officials sometimes. They never listened. That didn't do anything.
I like the way you said that. You tried to help them. 3rd down, 15. Very costly penalty now for Joe Theismann's team. Good protection, and he hits Art Monk, but Monk cannot hang on. Art Monk would have been about a yard short of the 1st down, and the rookie from Syracuse got pounded and pounded very well. The Patriots leading the Jets 21-6. Boy, New England, after losing to Atlanta, kind of got their act together. So 4th down coming up. Connell will have to kick. But one thing that one completion did, John, is it did give the Redskins the field position. And there's still 7 minutes left in this 3rd quarter. Connell hits it very high. Wally Henry faking the fair catch, and will be a touchback. That'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Connell a little disgusted with himself. He had too much on that football. So they bring it out to the 20. Philadelphia with a 21-7 lead, 6:58 in the 3rd quarter.
When I looked at Datsun 280ZX and Porsche 924.
Well, we were trying to figure out a while ago, John, where Terry Hermeline is, the offensive tackle for the Redskins. We've been told he's out of the lineup right now, suffering a slight concussion, and that's the reason Gary Anderson's been in there. So we'll keep you updated on that injury situation. From the 20-yard line now, after the touchback, the Eagles with the football and a 14-point lead. Charles Smith in motion. Jaworski to Montgomery. Montgomery for 5, 6, 7, 8 yards. It's going to be almost about, well, just a yard short of that 1st down. Carl Lorch eventually made the stop. Look at number 31 again.
Watch how he takes off here and gets going. Watch when he turns his shoulders, he gets them square to the line of scrimmage. He's going through a little move there, right to the goalpost. That's one of the most difficult things to teach, is you don't run right and left. You get square as soon as you can, and you run straight up the field, and there's no one that does it better than Wilbert Montgomery.
What do they call those guys? North-south runners?
North-south and east-west. One's good and one's bad. I don't know which.
Here's Harris. He has a first down at the 35-yard line, protecting the ball. Neil Olkowitz, 52. Now, we haven't called his number all that much today. They were glad to have him back at middle linebacker.
They were glad to have him back, and they thought that he would be one of the players that would help them stop the run. But, of course, the Eagles line is really doing a fine job of blocking as we watch number 50, Guy Morris, the center here. See, he gets off, he gets into his man, ties him up just enough so that Leroy Harris can get through the hole.
You've said it many times. You start your rebuilding, you put your team together when you get that offensive line all together. Here's Jaworski on a first down. Carmichael. Lavender defending on the play. It looked like Carmichael was trying to fake Lavender out. He didn't look like he was looking back for the football to let Lavender know it was coming.
Well, you know, when a defensive back gets turned, then what he does is he's watching your hands. So what Carmichael was trying to do was keep his hands down so that Lavender wouldn't go up for the ball. Although that was a double coverage, Joe Lavender had a man-to-man with number 29, the weak safety, Mark Murphy, coming over to help deep.
Did you see that Seahawks score? It's 26-0 now.
No, I didn't even look at it. No, I didn't.
Jaworski is 1 for 5 passing in the second half. He was 7 of 10 in the first half. Second down, 10. Play action fake by Jaworski. Pressure on. He's going to run. 40, 45, first down, 50 and out of bounds. Ron Jaworski. Excellent job of scrambling with the football all the way to the 45-yard line of Washington, and the Eagles with a first down.
Ron Jaworski has never been known to be a runner. I think the Washington Redskins pass rush really didn't think that. See, they all get bunched inside. We see Dave Butts coming to the outside. He makes a commitment. Jaworski sees just a little lane out there and is able to get outside, run. He has a little motion there. See, get downfield, block someone. While you block him, I'll run out of bounds.
He's kind of motioning the traffic around on that play.
Well, he wasn't, and he ran out of bounds. Well, saying if you want to motion me, what you run out of bounds for?
19-yard pickup to the 45. Harris. And Harris dropped at the 41. That's Olkowitz again, out of Maryland. Olkowitz having the knee difficulty, out the first 4 games. They call him Mr. Pop, as he will really hit you. And he was the man that became a starter after the first 6 games last year for Washington. A free agent find. And John, it's amazing to me, some of these free agents on these two teams.
We know they're usually on teams that don't have high draft choices, and that's true of both of these teams, the Eagles and the Redskins. So therefore, they put a lot of time and effort in low draft choices and evaluating them and free agents, and that's why they do such a good job.
Olkowitz is the guy that they signed immediately after the draft a year ago. First free agent they signed, off to Montgomery. Montgomery on the 2nd and 5, doing a remarkable job. And that should be enough for the first down. Olkowitz over to make the stop. Forward progress just inside the 35-yard line.
We had him reaching for the air on this play. Again, it was a little screen pass. He throws it out there to Montgomery, and you would love to have the ball in his hands. He makes Coleman miss, turns up, runs by Butts, and then knows where the first down marker is, just stretches it out and gets the extra little yard there and the first down. Although they'll mark it, I know it's a first down.
You have great eyes. How in the world did you see that?
I knew it because Wilbert Montgomery knew it. He felt as he was going down there that he needed just another inch or so, and he got it.
So the first down at the 35. Montgomery, what a steal he has been, a 6th-round draft pick in 1977. Well, you look at the players they have on this team. You have Johnson and Hairston, 7th-round picks. On down the line, they've had people that in the late rounds that have really given the Eagles a great nucleus to work with. Jaworski on first down to Carl Smith. Smith to the 30. Now he straddles the ball to Stan Walters, but the play has been blown dead. And Stan Walters has had a little fun, isn't he?
I'll tell you, they love that. I know I was an offensive tackle myself. We always dreamed for those plays. As Stan Walters goes back there, he has his gloves on. This is probably one of the happiest days or one of the happiest plays that he ever had in his life. It was a screen pass to Charlie Smith out here. He gets the ball. He starts to run. He says, well, they're going to get me. Who's behind me? And Walters says, let me have it. Okay, I'll go a while. Who's going to tackle him? No defensive back is. The official tried to. Yeah, the official said, hey, you can't do that. You're a lineman.
That's illegal use of hands. Walters with those gloves on. I don't know how in the world he even got the football. Second down now, 5 yards to go from the 30. Jaworski to Harris. Harris will be short of the first down. There's a flag on the play. Leroy Harris done a very good job. Of course, his big play today is that 51-yard touchdown catch. Holding against Philadelphia will bring it back. The Eagles have avoided a lot of those costly penalties. Certainly not the case as far as Washington is concerned. We understand that Vermeil, who was shaken up, is sitting on the end of the bench and has a little ice on his neck, and that's good to see him back out on the stadium area.
Holding 69, offense.
69 is Woody Peoples. Peoples, a 12th-year man from Grambling, 37 years old. He's having a battle for his job. He has a young man by the name of Ron Baker, who they picked up from the Baltimore Colts, who they really like.
And there was very few people that expected Woody Peoples to make the roster this year, and he just proved them all wrong.
Second down, 15 yards to go. 21-7. The Eagles with the lead. 3:12 to go, third quarter. Jaworski over the middle. Carmichael to the 24-yard line. What an imposing figure number 17 is. Tony Peters, Mark Murphy combine on the stop. First down, Philadelphia.
And that's the way to combat a penalty. You have the penalty. All that does is mean that you have 10 more yards to go. You have a guy like Harold Carmichael. Get him in the middle. Find him. Let him get the first down for you. And if you see here, the biggest thing that the Eagles are doing better this week is their pass protection. You see they're keeping that Redskin line on or close to the line of scrimmage so that Jaworski can see, step up, and find his receivers.
There's Vermeil. Good to see him sitting over there. Very personable young man. Here is Montgomery on a first down and dropped. Excellent play that time by Dusick. Brad Dusick has played quite a football game. You know, going back to that last play, it almost seems like you could go to that play anytime you want to with Carmichael at 6'8" going over the middle. It looks almost unstoppable.
Well, you know what they did? They hadn't been using their 3 wide receivers this week. Last week they lost Scott Fitzke, who would go in as 3 wide receivers. So they put Wilbert Montgomery out as a wide receiver. Harold Carmichael was in the slot on the other side, which spread the Redskin defense out, and he was able to work the middle.
Second down. 12 yards to go. Little delay to Montgomery, and he's to the 22-yard line. They still have some 10 yards to go for the first down. Neil Olkowitz over to make the tackle. Olkowitz is 6 foot, and that's the reason he wasn't drafted. They didn't think he was tall enough, and it comes back to those numbers they always talk about that you have to put into the computer. If they don't kick out 6'2", 6'3", then you're not considered a fine spec.
And that's a mistake that's really made by everyone in the National Football League, and I made that mistake myself, because ultimately and eventually they have to get down there and play on the field, and that's the important thing, how they play, not how they look or how big they are, how they play the game.
A third down, and you see how the Eagles have done on third down conversions. Third down, a little more than 10, a blitz. He gets away from Ken Houston. Carmichael. Ron Jaworski somehow ducked Ken Houston and almost came up with a touchdown.
You know
Carmichael a little upset. He didn't get back there.
He thought he had that. He was open. The ball was a little high, but Ron Jaworski, he did this with instinct. See, he's a right-handed quarterback. He comes back here. He really didn't see him coming because he was looking downfield, but he felt him. And then right at the end, he ducked under, came back up, and then threw the ball over Carmichael's head.
This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt by Tony Franklin. You see what he has done. His longest this year is a 32-yarder. This is kind of a chip shot for this guy.
That right foot is thicker than his left foot.
Franklin has enough distance, and he has a field goal. Tony Franklin, now 3 of 5 in the field goal department. Made that look easy, didn't he? 39 yards away. And this crowd here now sitting in the sunlight, enjoying the way their home team is playing.
Aaron, I think that was maybe the touchdown that will get Wilbert Montgomery out of the game. I have the feeling that Dick Vermeil would like to get in a position where he didn't have to play Wilbert Montgomery anymore, and maybe that was the touchdown that put them in that position.
Well, Franklin from 9 yards out. You know, you were saying that one foot is bigger than the other, and I can certainly verify that because you were down on your hands and knees comparing his feet yesterday at practice. I thought that was a remarkable investigative job on your part.
When he was in college, I used to look at his foot, and it always amazed me. I think, you know, how does a guy do that? It has to hurt. You get it stepped on. Does it hurt when you hit? So I wanted to see his foot, and he showed me how the muscles and the tendon and so on is built, and it's maybe 2 or 3 inches thicker than his left foot.
Boy, he hit that one high, but short. And bringing it up is Art Monk, and Monk gets across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Well, Franklin hurt that foot last year on a kickoff, and he still has a little swelling in there. And there he is. He's saying, wait a minute. I don't know what I did wrong, but I didn't get the distance that I wanted.
He has 1,000 reasons what he did. See, he's looking now. See the left, the ball was there. I hit it there. My left plant foot got there. My right foot got underneath. I stubbed my toe. See, you went there. I went there. He did this.
And there was a crosswind.
Oh, yeah. 1,000.
First down from the 26-yard line. Heisman to Jackson. Over Jackson, 30, 35-yard line. Very close to the first down, about a yard short. Wilbur Jackson, excellent receiver. Boy, they really used him in that department last year with San Francisco.
They do, and this is probably the best way to get Wilbur Jackson outside. Instead of trying to run sweeps to him out there, throw him a little swing or a screen pass. We see a block come up here, and that's really not a block, it's a clip. Because
I like it.
Anytime you can read his name, you don't block him. And
well, he was nice about it. He pushed him. He didn't do anything. Broncos leading the Browns. Browns are trying to win 3 in a row. Wilbur Jackson, and the ball is loose, but I believe the Redskins have recovered. Jackson falling on his own fumble. So that's going to bring up now a 3rd down. And it's also going to bring us to the end of this 3rd quarter of play here in Veterans Stadium with the score. Philadelphia Eagles 24, Washington Redskins 7. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Monday, Richard Thomas stars in To Find My...
Well, the Redskins had time to call another play from the sideline. The first 2 times it's worked into big gainers. Let's see if it can do that for him as we start this 4th quarter. Gary Bender with John Madden. 24-7, the Eagles on top. From the 33, 3rd down play, and that will be enough for the first down. Bobby Hammond, who has been very effective as a pass receiver in this game, and the Redskins keep the football. And the Falcons are really surprising everyone. 36-6. That means that we'll have no one unbeaten in the NFC.
Steve Bartkowski, the quarterback of the Falcons, is probably having the finest year he's ever had in his life. That was a nice adjustment by Bobby Hammond on that play. He knew where the first down was. He went up just beyond it, waited, got that first down.
Hammond has 5 catches in this game for 44 yards. Ricky Thompson in motion, Theismann to Art Monk. Monk hit by Hairston. Carl Hairston. I think you kind of like that. He didn't even leave his feet to make that tackle. It shows you how strong this big guy is.
And I think Art Monk was complaining here that Hairston grabbed his face mask as he went by. See, they started out there. Hairston comes right down the line of scrimmage, reaches out, and either got a shoulder pad or maybe he did get a little hunk of helmet.
I don't know. That looked almost like a shoulder pad, but the officials say it was a tackling by face mask.
And it's a 15-yard penalty. It's not that little 5-yard variety.
Personal foul, delivered face mask, first down.
Let's go back again and see if we can pick it up.
I don't know how they can call this deliberate. How do they know what he was thinking anyway? I think he was making a great effort here, and he just starts to run by, and he's getting blocked as he does. Now, he may have had the face mask, but that didn't look deliberate to me.
I agree with that. It would have been a first down, but not 15 yards. Here is Platt. And Platt going virtually nowhere as he gets to the 50-yard line. That kind of fired up this Eagle team a little bit.
I think it did. It fired up the defense, and they had everyone in on that tackle.
Boy, the Dolphins all year long have come from behind in games, and they're trying to do it again.
It's the third quarter, and they still have that fourth to go. That's where they usually get it.
Boy, that's a surprise.
It's been a long time since they've been ahead of anyone.
They weren't ahead until overtime in that first game against Chicago.
And they had that special play to score.
Second down 8. Monk and Thompson split out. Heisman, Ricky Thompson to the 45-43-yard line. Herman Edwards defending on the play. You know, something that's always been curious to me, you see Edwards, he's from San Diego State. There's Joe Lavender from San Diego State. Seems like there's a lot of cornerbacks from that school. Why? Any reason?
Well, San Diego State is one of the few passing teams in college football that have been known for passing. They have quarterbacks, they have wide receivers, and when you have a passing college, and then you tend to get defensive backs. Does that make sense?
I think I understand that. You practice against something long enough, you learn how to do it, right?
That's right, and they become important to you.
Third down, 3. Heisman to Hammond. He didn't get it this time. Bobby Hammond, who's been doing so well, really upset at himself because that would have been enough for the first down. Now, is Connell coming in, or are they going to go ahead and go for it on fourth down? There's some discussion on the far sideline. I believe they're going to go for it, and will. Connell is called back onto the bench area, and so Theismann on fourth down and 3 will try to keep this drive going.
I think they started out, the punt coverage team started out, then they were called back and they decided to go for it on fourth down. And I think with 13 minutes to go, 24-7, I think you have to do these types of things.
And here we go on a 4th and 3. Theismann hits in, and that'll be a first down. First down as Bobby Hammond, who just missed one a while ago, came back and caught this one only on the other side. That kind of gives him a little restitution, doesn't it, after dropping the other one?
And you have to be impressed with Joe Theismann. You know, he went back on third down. He hit the pass. It was dropped. Then he came right back on fourth. He knew what he had to do. He really drilled that ball in there.
Lost his helmet on that, too. I guess a lot of times you like to do that, don't you, to give a player a chance to redeem himself. First down at the 38-yard line. Flat, out to the 30. Inside the 30 to the 28, and that's close to another first down. Ron Saul is what made that play work from his left guard spot as Clatt took over from there.
Clatt came through here. He looked like Wilbert Montgomery. He started in. Look how he gets his shoulder square. He's coming up. He makes a little jump move, puts his shoulder down, gets the extra yardage. That was fine running. This Ricky Clatt is going to be a good running back for this Washington Redskin organization.
He said he's not real fast, but he's quick, and I think he is quick. That play certainly showed that. It is a first down at the 28-yard line. So on that fourth down gamble, the Redskins keep the football and getting some continuity on this offense. There's Clatt, 44 yards. Bethune-Cookman, school located in Daytona Beach, Florida. Led him in rushing in the preseason, and coming into the day, he was the leading rusher for the Redskins. 5'10", 206. Thompson in motion. Clatt again. Boy, he is charged up. Makes it inside the 25 to the 23. Not a lot of running room that time, as stacked up pretty well by Philadelphia.
I think that Joe Theismann, they really have been patient, but with 11 minutes, 47 seconds left to go, he needs 3 scores, and I think that they probably ought to get started on that first one as soon as possible, like right now.
In other words, you think they're taking too much time?
I think so.
At the 24-yard line, second down, 6 yards to go. McDaniel and Monk split out. Monk to the bottom of the screen. 24-7. The Eagles. This is Jackson, and is he hit by Carl Hairston? Hairston is just super. How many times have we seen him reach skyward with those arms in victory, as he has been in tackle after tackle in this game?
He is really something. You know, he plays a combination defensive line and linebacker with his speed and quickness, and the way he gets up and down that field. He plays like a linebacker, but he has the size of a lineman. He's having a super day today, and he played well last week with 10 tackles.
So to the 25-yard line, it comes to a 3rd and 7. Hairston would like to go back to the Pro Bowl. Theismann. And that time he tried to hit Hammond. What messed that up was Dennis Harrison at 6'8", obstructed the vision of Theismann, and the pass just didn't make connections. And when you're 6'8" and you put those hands up, boy, that's tough to see over. There's a 33-7. They're still playing in the 4th quarter of that game. St. Louis with that win would go to 2-3, and the Saints would go to 0-5. A field goal attempt now by Mosley. This will be a 42-yard attempt. Mark Mosley, 2 of 9, didn't get it. And John, I just can't get over what's happening to Mark Mosley.
And his slump continues. I'm sure that he's not sure of what's happening to him.
A 42-yarder veers off, and it's still 24-7, Philadelphia.
We'd like to introduce the 1981 American Motor Spirit.
Pretty's not enough anymore, mister.
You're right.
The NBA champion Lakers take their magic show to Seattle to battle the Supersonics next Friday night, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central on CBS Sports.
Well, let's go back, John. Can we analyze this missed field goal?
I think so. It's on the right hash mark. He missed it to the left side, and it looks like he just overcompensated. But he's been a very consistent kicker, and I'm sure he doesn't know the reason. They say in practice that he's doing very well, that he doesn't miss in practice, and it's just something, a slump that he's in, he can't get out of.
Boy, he's been remarkable. He's second. So many departments only to Franklin last year as far as field goals are concerned, and now he has just dropped off. He's 2 for 10. Louis Giamona brings the ball out to the 30-31. In fact, if you look at Mosley, he came into this year with 68 straight point afters and missed his first one, and that seemed to start him in this direction. There's Wilbert Montgomery. They are going to rest him for next week's game against the Giants.
I thought they would. I thought, you know, maybe had the Redskins scored on that, they wouldn't have rested Wilbert Montgomery.
Boy, he's got those pads on that you did such an excellent job modeling, John. You may have a new career. Here's Giamona. No place to go on that play. Excellent reaction by Olkowitz, 52. Also coming up, Tony Peters.
Wilbert Montgomery moved a lot better today with them on than I did. I was restricted a little when I tried to run up and down the field with those pads on.
Oh, it's your age, John. It's creeping up. 3rd down and 5. You know, looking, I think I said Franklin was ahead of Mosley last year. It was Mosley that was leading the NSC in scoring. Franklin was second.
Right.
The 2 best field goal kickers of a year ago in this game, but Mosley just hasn't put it together. It's a mystery to everybody. 3rd down 5. Demona again, and nothing. That's Big Dave Butts. And so it'll come to a 4th down.
The Redskins are doing a good job here. They know that the Eagles aren't going to pass, that they're satisfied with the 24-7 lead. They're trying to run some time off the clock and control. So the Redskins are putting 8 and 9 men up on the line of scrimmage, penetrating, just playing the run.
Big rush put on. Runniger gets the kickoff. Nelms at the 28, gets away from one man, and Nelms hit by Reggie Wilkes, number 51. Nelms, who's done very well this year in the punt return department, that time avoided that first man, picked up some pretty good yardage. The Redskins with the football, 8.5 minutes left.
There goes another gas station.
We talked about the special teams of Philadelphia. Look at the bodies flying around trying to get number 21 down.
I'll tell you, and the man right there, number 51, that's at tackle, Reggie Wilkes, we saw his name on the hammer, and here's the T-shirts they get when they play well on special teams. Who's nuts?
Great pride in their special teams. Same story with Washington, and both of them played well today. Theismann on first down. He's had pump fake all kinds of time. Art Monk is down there. Monk inside the 20-yard line. He, along with Herman Edwards, kind of pushing and shoving there a little bit, and Monk went up for the football, and Theismann, a long completion to the 19-yard line.
Herman Edwards played the first pump very well. We see here Joe Theismann comes back. It was an out and up, a delay. He pumped, and then the second time he held it again. Edwards lost the receiver, Art Monk, and then when he came around, it was too late. It was over his head. As we watched rookie Art Monk come on, you see it's a delay. He's going inside. That's the fake. Now he goes. Herman Edwards is pretty good, and then he holds it one more time. Theismann did, and Monk was able to get in behind.
Back to the live action. Wilbur Jackson to the 15. That was a 48-yard completion to Art Monk. I like that big rookie. 6'3", 209-pounder. He was a halfback, wingback, wide receiver, their #1 draft pick this year.
He was from Syracuse. He played very little wide receiver in college, so he's still making an adjustment. Joe Theismann told me before the game that really everyone is still in a training camp procedure on this team.
Second down, 6 from the 15-yard line. Thompson to the bottom of the screen, Monk to the top. Art Monk came into this game with 10 catches. He had a 45-yarder last week. Theismann and Rick Walker knocked out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Walker playing because Don Warren, their #1 tight end, has a broken leg. Randy Loga there defending on the play. Very, very close to the first down. Looks as though they might have just missed it.
You know, we were talking about special teams, but the special teams have really hurt the Redskins today. They had hurt them in the penalty just before the halftime. And then now, had Mosley made that field goal, you see, if they scored 24-7, the Redskins need 3 scores, including a field goal. Had they made that, they'd have 1, and they'd be working towards the second one. Now they're still working towards the first.
Third down, less than a yard to go. Theismann gives off to Klatt, and Klatt picks it in. Ricky Klatt, the rookie from Bethune-Cookman, and that is his first touchdown in the National Football League. And so the Redskins get a little bit of it back.
Ricky Klatt's very happy here. Again, the offensive line took off very well. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Klatt has again his shoulder square. He's able to move, and he burst right into the end zone. The most emotion showed on that play was the quarterback, Joe Theismann. He was jumping up and down in the air. He was probably the happiest Redskin of all.
Well, that ends a lot of frustration. They scored early in this game. In fact, they scored back at the 10:05 mark of the first quarter. Now coming back to add another touchdown. And Mosley adds a point after. Let's go back now on this touchdown run.
They need 3 scores. Here's the first of them. Had they had that field goal before, they would only need 1 more for a tie.
And so again, you can see how important the field goal kicker is. Good. The Eagles, I think, are looking for the onside kick as Mosley ready to kick off. They have 10 men up there and 2 lines. Let's see if it will in fact be that. He kicks off instead. Wally Henry going back. That's going to go out of bounds, and they'll have to kick it again, a 5-yard penalty. We ought to take this opportunity, John, to say something about the situation in Washington regarding former middle linebacker Harold McClinton of the Redskins. As I'm sure many people know, he was involved in a serious accident, and many of the players wanted us to know that they are going out to Washington Hospital Center on Monday, and they're going to go out and give some blood for his rehabilitation, and that they are encouraging all other people from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon to come out. They need some type O positive.
Right, but they'll take any type of blood. They can go to any hospital, but the Washington Redskin players will be there on Monday from 10 to 3.
Harold McClinton hurt, had 19 hours of emergency surgery. He's serious, but he is stabilized, and we certainly wish all of his family and loved ones the best, and the football team, of course, paying very close attention to how this situation is. Mosley kicking off again. Now this is a peculiar kick. Henry at the 20-yard line. He really got that one up high. And Henry will bring it out to the 35-yard line.
It'll be interesting here, Gary, to see if the Eagles feel with 6 minutes and 38 seconds that a 10-point lead is sufficient, whether they will stay on the line, stay conservative, ball control, try and get time off the clock, or do they feel that they need another touchdown or another score?
Steelers, they're having a pretty good struggle with Minnesota today, aren't they? Look at that, 14 points by the Vikings in that fourth period.
Anytime you have a Tommy Kramer and an Ahmad Rashad, things can happen very quick.
Jaworski in this game, 11 of 19, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns and the 1 interception. Let's see how conservative they remain now. 6.5 minutes to go. Harris trying to go wide. Lord's giving chase. But eventually making the stop was Joe Lavender. Harris getting out close to the 40-yard line. The Colts, well, they've jumped back up on top after being tied up, 24-17.
The Dolphins haven't scored in the second half yet, and we'll see what happens at the end. I'm sure it'll be interesting. Everyone will be watching that.
Well, they came from behind to defeat Atlanta. They came from behind to defeat Cincinnati, so they might do it again.
Can they do it a third time?
Second down. See Steve Kenny, number 73 now, in an offensive tackle. Philadelphia using some alternate people. Carmichael, Smith, the wide receivers. Giamona to the 45, breaks across for the first down to the 48-yard line. Mark Murphy making the tackle for Washington.
He just broke that one right through. The Redskins were up playing tight and really pressing the run. Giamona got through. There wasn't much of a hole there, but again, that's a first down, which will let them run another 2 minutes off just on that play.
You know, Vermeil said the strength of this team is their pride and confidence, and I think pride really came into play this week because of that loss last week in St. Louis. It reminds me, you used to have with Oakland, what was it? Pride and poise? Wasn't that what you had all the time?
Pride and poise, and I knew one thing, after a loss, it was always much easier to get their attention.
And here is Paul Smith sacking Jaworski at the 40-yard line.
That looked like a broken play. I think it was going to be a pass, but as we see the start here, it looks like Jaworski was coming here and looking for someone to fake it to. Both backs went their own sides, and there was no back to fake to. He came back to pass and, of course, couldn't get the ball off.
That's the third sack by the Redskins today. That gives them 8 for the year. And now it's 43-13.
How's Billy Sims doing?
He had 22 yards the last we checked in that game. And the lowest he had all year was 95 yards in one game. Other games, he's been over 100 yards. I don't know what Atlanta did, but they certainly have contained him in that game.
I know what Woody Peoples did. He started to pass protect before the ball was snapped, so that'll be a 5-yard penalty against the Philadelphia Eagles.
69, offense.
You got it. Number 69, Woody Peoples, a 5-yard step off. And Seahawks are still putting the old horse collar on Houston, 26-0. This is a surprising day. You know what? You look around at some scores. I think it shows the equity in the league. And with the Lions going down to today, no unbeaten teams in the NFC. 2 of them the AFC. San Diego and Buffalo are playing today, so there'll only be 1 left there. 2nd and 21.
It's a great thing about the National Football League.
And Jaworski wants to throw it on this 2nd and 21. Broken up. A couple of Redskins diving for that football. Ken Houston, one of them. Rich Malott, the other. Let's look at some of the play now in the trenches.
They were playing 3 wide receivers there, and as we see the line play here and what it is, we watch Woody Peoples there. And again, the thing that he does is he stays square. Butts is trying to get him turned or out of square, and it's a real battle between 2 big hulks. I love those shots. Sandy Grossman does a great job of getting right in there with the linemen.
Well, I tell you, Grossman's the kind of guy that could have played in the trenches, right?
Short and tough.
From the 37-yard line. Third down now, 21 yards to go. Here's Giamona. And he's out to the 48-yard line. Rich Malott over there to make the stop. Malott in there now in place of Neil Olkowitz. Steve Kenny did a pretty good job. He's that rookie out of Clemson who last year was on the injured reserve list for Philadelphia. Giamona seeing a lot of action. The nephew of Dick Vermeil. He was the guy last year that was given the Hammer Award for the year. In other words, he led all the special teams. And that's quite an honor on this Philadelphia team.
It's a very important part of the team.
Hunniger to kick. Helms back deep. 3:50 remaining in this game. Ten seconds to get this play off. They're going to use all of it, aren't they?
They may take the penalty.
I believe, yep, there they go with 3 seconds. Helms going to let it hit. Almost hit Lonnie Coleman, and that's taking a very fortuitous bounce for Philadelphia. It's going to go to the 6-yard line. And so the Redskins did not come away from that one the way they wanted to. A 46-yard kick by Runninger. You can see he liked the end result of his effort.
Because Subaru doesn't think four-wheel drive is only for the rich, we present the open-back Subaru Brat, America's lowest price four-wheel drive fun car, and the Subaru Hatchback, America's lowest price four-wheel drive functional car. Both go from front to four-wheel drive at the flick of a lever, and both get more miles per gallon than any other four-wheel drive cars in America, the Subaru Hatchback and the Subaru No-Back.
Sorry, no experience, no job.
Air Force, Marines, what a great place. It's a great place to start.
That's the final score. The St. Louis Cardinals, their second win of the year, winning 40-7 over New Orleans, and we welcome those viewers of that game. I'm Gary Bender along with John Madden. We have 3:18 left in this one, and it's 24-14 in favor of Philadelphia. First down for the Washington Redskins at the 6-yard line. Art Monk makes the catch. Nope, they're saying he was out of bounds. He did not have both feet in bounds. Let's go back and look at it.
And Joe Theismann started over to make a comment on that. It's a good play here. You don't want to stand in that pocket down there throwing from your own end zone. You roll out where you can see better. Get the ball to the outside. He only had 1 foot in. Good call.
This game started out in spectacular fashion. The Redskins scoring on a 54-yard touchdown pass. The Eagles came back with a 51-yarder. And then the Eagles started to go to work, but Montgomery scored from 3 yards. Jaworski hit Harold Carmichael for 6 yards. He added a Tony Franklin field goal, only to see the Redskins come back and score here in the fourth quarter as Theismann's in trouble. Hits John McDaniel, and this time it is ruled a completion. Well, that was a fine catch by John McDaniel. Herman Edwards defending on the play, and McDaniel getting up a little slow. This is the guy that drove you crazy on a Monday night game.
He had 9 receptions. He played against us for the Cincinnati Bengals. He had 9 receptions one night. He was playing against Willie Brown, one of the finest corners that ever played the game. And I didn't even know who he was. That was one of those deals where we had to look at the program and say, who is this guy, McDaniel? 9 passes.
And you screamed and yelled at Willie Brown all week about it.
All week. All week. That was bad. I was brutal.
First down now as Theismann getting a little operating room on first down. Again, he hits Jackson, Wilbert Jackson, 30, 35, out to the 38-yard line. And that missed field goal of 42 yards earlier by Mark Mosley looks a lot bigger right now.
That looms big, and you really have to respect the job that Joe Theismann does here to move around, to complete these passes, to get the ball off his own goal line, get out where he does have the operating room.
And so at the 38-yard line, we have a timeout as the 2-minute warning is here. A 10-point lead for Philadelphia.
Presenting the 1980 Subaru. Its chiseled lines use the air it drives through to hold it to the road. But Subaru is even beautiful in places you can't see. There's front-wheel drive, independent suspension, 2 separate brake line circuits, and electronic sensors notify the driver when a brake light is amiss or a door is ajar. Look into Subaru. See the beauty of our logic. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Introducing the revolutionary twin action shaving system engineered to outperform twin blades. The new Norelco Road Attract Razor. Inside 3 floating heads, Road Attract works like twin blades to grip hair. Raise it up, then razor it off, hundreds of times a second, for a shave that's twin blade close without a nick or cut. Twin blade closeness, but no gotcha.
Well, you look at the Washington Redskins side. We were just kidding a while ago, Joe Walton and all the crew over there. He had his hat on backwards a while ago. Man, that was a problem.
Yeah, and the quarterback, Joe Theismann, wasn't sure which way he was looking. But he does call the plays for the Redskins. He's the offensive coordinator.
And he is very high on Joe Theismann. First down after that 20-yard pass a while ago. Ricky Thompson. Well, that would have been a remarkable catch had he held on. But Theismann is really zipping that ball. He's rifling some shots out there. As Walton now, let's watch it. Let's see how he sends this one in. Well, he's going to send it in through John McDaniel.
There's 2 ways. They can signal the plays in with hand signals, or they can send them in with another player. In this case, it's John McDaniel, the wide receiver.
Now, in this game, if the Astros hold on, they win that division. If they lose, they've got to go to a playoff tomorrow. Big game out west between the Dodgers and Astros. Theismann back on 2nd and 10. He throws another strike. Nope, didn't hang on. Ball was, again, a bullet up the middle. Rick Walker, the big tight end. 3rd down coming up.
He did throw it in there. Now Joe Walton's thinking, you get to 1st downs easier to call than 2nd downs easier than 3rd, and now they have that 3rd and 10. And instead of hand signaling or sending in a player, he looked like he just yelled that play in. We'll see what it is.
You do it this time.
Yeah, he said 1st and 10, I did it. 2nd was mine. 3rd and 10, you're on your own.
3rd down, 10. From the 38, Theismann back. And trying to come up is Art Monk. There's a flag on the play thrown around the quarterback, but I believe it's going to go against Washington. It's holding against the Redskins.
Well, and again, that was the late one called by the referee, which means it's late in the backfield or at the end of the pass protection, and that one can really hurt.
Well, they may refuse this. What do you think? It would bring up a 4th down.
No, I think they're going to put him back and see what they'll do with 3rd and 20.
That's what they're going to do.
Now, 3rd and 20 is when I always went to get a drink of water.
Holding, number 60, offense, 3rd down.
That left tackle position for the Redskins has a very tough time. Terry Hermeling had 4 holding penalties last week playing left tackle. This week, Gary Anderson is playing now for Hermeling, who has a concussion, and that's the 2nd holding penalty that he's had at left tackle.
Well, they're passing it around. 3rd down now, 20 yards to go. Theismann, he's hit as he tries to deliver the ball to Bobby Hammond. And Theismann getting up very slowly. Gary Anderson could not keep Carl Hairston out, and we'll see it on this replay.
He sure couldn't. Carl Hairston gets off the ball very quick and just runs right around Gary Anderson. We see him coming here, and it's very difficult to pass from that position when someone's hanging on your left shoulder.
Connell will have to kick. So the penalties have really hurt this team all day long, and this drive is just another example of it. Inside the 15, Connell hits it high, but relatively short. And over there is Wilbur Jackson, and he has some help from Rich Malott, and they will down the football at the 46, and you see the time remaining, 1:26. Well, I would say the Eagles have come back, and that's what Dick Vermeil said. He said, we were brought down to earth, but we'll be back, and they have come back impressively here today.
And we had the opportunity to see them last week, and we knew what really brought them down to earth, I think, was the fact that they didn't play fundamentally sound football. They were really beaten in the lines, both offensively and defensively. And now today, they look like their offensive line has done an excellent job.
New quarterback, Joe Pisarcik, has come in. There he is, number 9. He's thrown 5 passes thus far. And Billy Campfield to the 50-yard line. He's been in Dick Vermeil's doghouse. Been hurt a lot, and Dick is waiting on him to get healthy, and today he's seen some action.
Well, he's had a pulled hamstring, and of course for him to come back with Wilbert Montgomery's hip pointer, I think is a big thing for the Eagles. But Wilbert Montgomery really looked like he was okay today, didn't he?
He did. And, you know, early it looked a little shaky. They took him out of there, and they were very precautious about what they were doing. And as an end result, he was able to continue. Our executive producer is Charles Milton III. Our producer, Bob Stenner. Our director is Sandy Grossman. Our associate producer is Michael Albanese. And gentlemen, thank you. We've enjoyed it.
What a job they do. Bob Stenner and Sandy Grossman. The camera work has been excellent today.
And at the 50-yard line, it'll be second down now. 6 yards to go as Pisarcik with the conference on the near sideline. Well, this Philadelphia team, they're really excited about him, as well they should be. They've started out in great fashion. They've rebounded from last week. And there is now Detroit starting to make a move. Look at that, 22 points in the 4th quarter. They had Billy Sims. They held to 21 yards the last we had checked. Billy Campfield inside the 50 to the 48. I couldn't believe that you could hold the Lions down very long, but looks like they may have waited too long to make their move.
But as we see another timeout here, and there are a lot of happy people for the Eagles. The stadium was full today. The coaching staff, the players, everyone's excited this year about the team. They really feel that this is a year that they can go all the way. And one person that we don't see on the sideline or in the stands, but is here in the boxes, is the owner, Leonard Toes, who has really done an outstanding job as an owner. He's always been one of my favorite, a real gentleman, a real class person. And you know who's with him today? His guest?
I saw him, Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, a real funny man. They lost the game, so they brought Don Rickles in to help. I don't know if he has any plays or not, but he sure has a lot of talent.
Can he block or tackle?
No. He just wants sweatsuits. He likes to wear sweatsuits around.
So it's 3rd down, 3 yards to go for Philadelphia. This series between these two was split last year, and the Eagles winning here and losing in RFK. And the Colts now 13 more points in the 4th quarter. That's a big win for them over Miami. Go to 3-2. Pisarcik off to Campfield again. He gets a block, and he's across the 50 to the 47-yard line. 1:04 left in this game. Brad Dusick making the stop for Washington. Washington played 2 tough AFC Western Division teams, and they got to turn right around and do it again now. They got to play Denver.
Right. We had the opportunity to see a couple of those games. The Oakland Raider game we saw on film. We saw some of the Seattle game. And I feel that the Redskins played better today than they did their last 2 games.
I want to thank our statistician, Jerry Bruderly, and our spotter, Bob Brennan, for a job well done today, as Runniger now inside the 40-yard line to kick. Nelm standing at the 10. And they're going to have a delay of game coming up. Eagles taking all the time that they possibly can, using all 30 seconds, and the Broncos leading the Browns. Cleveland won their last 2. Denver's been an interesting team this year. They've been kind of up and down.
They haven't had too many ups.
Offense.
And now back to the 47-yard line after the 5-yard penalty. Runniger from the 33 this time to kick. 10 men up there now for Washington. Nelms is going to let it hit. John Shira down there, and it's going to go out of bounds at the 19-yard line. And now the Patriots leading the Jets. New England looking for their 4th win of the year.
The Jets scored 5 points in the 4th quarter. That 4th quarter looks like a baseball score, 5-0.
And 6 points in that 1st quarter. Very Interesting way of scoring in that game. That was only a 33-yard kick that time by Runninger. And at the 19-yard line, Washington with a football. You see the time remaining, and the Astros leading the Dodgers in the second inning 2-0. That pass to Bobby Hammond. Hammond continues to have a big day. The Redskins are going without a huddle. Picked up 4 yards on the play. It'll be second down 6. Heisman back again. And Art Monk has it. Monk on the crossing pattern, a first down, but there's another flat on the play way back at the 10-yard line. And this one now is still 26-0. That's now a final, I understand. It is not a final. It's 26-0. There's Ron Jaworski, and he knows it's final here.
Right, and he's a lot happier today than he was a week ago today, isn't he?
He sure is.
The life of a quarterback.
Well, he's had some pretty good coaching this year by a man by the name of Sid Gilman. And Gilman said that he had a good week in practice, and it was certainly shown today.
Yeah, Sid told us yesterday that the best throwing in practice by a quarterback that he's ever seen, and that's a long time for a Sid Gilman, was the way that Ron Jaworski threw the ball last week.
Inside the 15 now after the penalty. 2nd and 15. 33 seconds left in the game. Heisman, good pressure put on. Buddy Hardiman, did he catch that? He did.
He sure did.
Boy, what a catch by Buddy Hardiman. Brings him back out to 21. There's Harold Carmichael. He's now with his string at 117 games after the catches today. There's an interception. Nope, incomplete. Jerry Robinson thought he had it.
Jerry Robinson showed it to the officials. He said, look, I had it in my hands. Here, it's still in my hands. You take it. Look at it. You see his rib pads there, but he did make a nice effort towards it. As we see it again here. Let's see if he did get it. Oh, it probably hit the ground right there, didn't it? But those linebackers, they don't get a chance to get the ball in their hands a lot of time. But when they do, they really want it.
There's the final, John. 21-11. New England. The Jets still winless. 0-5, and it's going to be a tough uphill battle for them. Eyes on 4th down at 7. Dropped by Monk. Stops the clock with 8 seconds. And so Philadelphia will take over with these 8 seconds remaining. Well, this is going to be some chase in this NFC East. Dallas, Philadelphia, look out for the Cardinals now, the way they played today.
And the Redskins really wanted to get that type of start today, and it's something that that they're not happy with. The Jets are 0-5, but these Redskins are 1-4, and that's not much better.
1-4, and the team that they thought they would be right up on top with is 4-1. So when you lose in the division, it even hurts a little bit more. Theismann in this game threw the ball 33 times, completing 19, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. A touchdown, a spectacular play, 54 yards.
Look at this formation. The quarterback's up there. Harold Carmichael is back 12 yards. See if they break anything away. Big Harold is back there to stop him.
Okay, that's going to do it. The final score here, 24-14 in favor of Philadelphia. This is Gary Bender for John Madden. Stay tuned as the NFL on CBS continues after this word from your local station.